Welcome back, guys. I know I said 30-ish minutes, but stream's gonna get cut like 30-ish minutes short anyway. So everyone's like, why not just start now? Okay. Beep boop beep boop. I'm trying to see shit. Sorry about that. Okay, let's do it. Let's get into it. I had some hot Cheetos because I was hungry. I had breakfast. I had Eggo pancakes. But I got hungry again because look at the time. The times have changed. And we're back. Yeah, we're back. Let's hang out. Let me hang out. What are you doing? Let me hang out. You grabbed a large beach towel from off your bed and stuffed it into a bag. You had already packed your water bottle for your upcoming beach hangout session. The stars had aligned and somehow everyone was free today. Miranda had set things up with several bubbly phone calls between you, Cove, and Terry to find a time to hit the beach. You were hoping that this would be a fun time together. Oh my god. Why are you shirtless? I was not expecting him to be shirtless because didn't he used to have like clothes on when he went swimming? I feel like he did, and now I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. Put your titties away, please. Cove sat near a windowsill and kicked one of his legs into the air idly. He already had his swimsuit on, and his towel was bundled under his arm in a misshapen ball. Or was it misshapen? It might have been misshapen. The literacy rate here, terrible. He'd shown up earlier that morning with a surprising amount of enthusiasm. He was chatting as you caught up to his preparation. But seriously, I couldn't find my swimsuit this morning. I looked everywhere. It had disappeared. I had no idea what I was gonna do. You could have gotten a new one somewhere. Doesn't your dad like own a swimming store? A beach store? What happened to all your other swimsuits? You don't have to wear a swimsuit to be on the beach. Yeah, it completely vanished somehow. Just like your old sand pail. You stayed quiet. I don't think I have any opinions on this. I mean, you don't have to wear a swimsuit on the beach. Yeah, but I don't exactly think of that when I couldn't find something that should have been right there. He didn't think of that. Okay. Anyways, I don't know why it was in the bathroom when I never put it in there. He gave a small smile and readjusted the towel in his arms. You now could see that it had been folded at some point, but then rolled up and carried without much care. But I'm just glad I found it. It would have been crappy to lose my favorite trunks. It was nice to see Cove was happy and comfortable in what he was wearing. You walked over to your dresser and mused about how you had picked out your own swimsuit. You know what? Before I started stream, I was trying to get stream ready, and I was like, I got a new bottle of water. And you know what this bottle of water did? It did everything that it was supposed to do. It hit my mouse, it hit my keyboard, it rolled off my desk, hit my computer, and then hit the floor. And I'm like, why? Why did you have to be so dramatic? You didn't have to do all that. Your height had complicated your swimsuit shopping. Not many swimsuits were well-fitting on someone who's petite. And then for the shape of your body, you were heavyset, you were chubby, you had curves, you were generally medium, you were slender, you were scrawny. I had curves. I was kind of curvy. And had noticeable muscles. I wish I had muscles. Your body was soft. Your body was delicate. My body was soft. There was a smooth feel to your body without any hard muscle, even if you flexed. I had never had muscles. Except for, you know what, I did have really nice calf muscles in my youth. But I don't anymore. Things have changed. You kept mostly the same shape you had throughout your teenage years. You were used to your body, and your body was used to your habits. And now, look at me, a body completely different. You alright? Oh, yeah, I was thinking about some things. What things? Just myself and my body, really? His eyebrow rose at your admission of self-reflection. The more I'm looking at Cove, the more Gil looks like Cove right now. I can't. He let me cut his hair last night, and I tried my best. I tried my best. And he was like, you're not cutting it even. And you're like, it's getting shorter and shorter. I'm like, and then he tried to cut it himself and he made it worse. But his hair is like kind of like Cove's right now. And I can't. He's got glasses too. He looks like Cove and I can't. Why'd I do this? And what do you think? What did you think of who you were? You considered your identity further. Oh, I've always been a hater. Oh, I mean, in this way. Oh, okay. You knew for sure you were non-binary. Your identity had different facets to it. You still didn't know what your identity you felt truly comfortable with. That's me. This is me right now. I don't know what the fuck I am. I'm something. I'm human, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I don't even know if I'm really human. You still had things to figure out for yourself. Your identity was a work in progress. Maybe someday you would find something that fit, but for now, you took things one day at a time. And you had small boobs, your breasts were not exactly small. I was well endowed. In the past, you had breasts, but you had them surgically removed. I wish. You know what my plastic surgeon told me? He was like, for your body type, we don't want to go too small. We want to look aesthetically pleasing. And I was like, man, if you don't give me my fucking C cups. You know what I am now? I think I'm a D. I might be triple D. But I was, my boobs used to be so big before. They were painful. Your boobs were a large part of your frame. You liked the size you had. You wish they were smaller. You might get a reduction. You used a binder. I tried, but I don't think it fit because it didn't cover all my boob. You left them as you were considering I might get a reduction. People had a lot of their identity wrapped up in their physical form. It shaped their self-image. It sure does. You were confident in yours. You were comfortable in yours. You weren't really content with yours. You hated your body. I have gender dysphoria. Sometimes I'm like, I want to be a guy. But then sometimes I'm like, do I really want to be one? And it's really difficult to live like that. I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I am. I don't know what I want to do. But I've got time, right? Maybe. It was a fact you realized and faced. There was no misunderstanding what you felt. The body you were in just wasn't right. You weren't comfortable and it wasn't always easy to deal with. You had pretty much always been happy with your body. Even when you were younger, it felt off. And that still hadn't changed. You didn't feel like who you wanted to be. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that now. You focused on Cove again. He smiled at you and tilted his head. A question still in his eyes. He was waiting for you to come to an answer. But before you could, you had something to say to him. What do you think of me? About how I look, I mean. Cove frowned, his eyebrows furrowed in concern, as if he were trying to find the best words to say. Then his eyes warmed, like he was looking at something truly special. Aww. Princess, you're wonderful. No matter what anybody thinks, you, me, and anyone, you are still wonderful. It just can't be helped. It's a fact of life. Cove stopped speaking and looked at you for a moment. He kicked his feet as if considering something, and then nodded with a thoughtful expression on his face. He stared forward, and directly met your eyes. I've known you for a long time, since we were kids, you know. Yeah, I do know, I was there. I've seen you just about every day for the past decade, so I think it's fair for me to say this. Oh, thank you. Each day you're different from before, just by a little bit, but you're also still the same. You're always you. It's nice to see you keep developing as a person. Sorry, like I said, I was eating hot Cheetos, so that's why my nose is more sniffly than usual. I do want you to keep being you, but the only one who gets to decide who that is you. You choose who you are. You choose who you are today. You get to choose who you are tomorrow. That's okay with me. Thank you. You smile with tears. It's the same with you. You know how to react. I smiled with tears. Moisture started gathering in your eyes, so you began to blink rapidly. You couldn't stop the tears from coming even as you smiled so wildly your cheeks hurt. What could you even say to that? I mean, that was very sweet of him to say. I really feel that sentiment. Thank you. Cove seemed a little concerned by your tears, but smiled back. Princess. Cove gave you a bent smile, pointing to your arms. You're looking particularly shapely today. The fuck is that supposed to mean? It's he answered not with words, but solid okay sign with both hands and the same cheeky smile. Cove suddenly flushed when he realized how boldly he complimented you. That was a compliment? That was the worst fucking compliment. Do better. He stood by it, even if he was a little red. You were a little taken back. That came out of nowhere. You glanced at yourself. You like that? Yeah. What is happening here? I'm confused. I am so confused. You started to flex and show off jokingly. You flirtatiously stretched. You stood there stunned. You're so sweet and fantastic. You have some good arms yourself. You hugged him. I'm shook. What is happening? You looked back at Cove and tried to think of just what was happening. See, it's not me. It's not just me. My character's also confused. He chuckled nervously and rubbed his own arms. Now he seemed unsure of what to do. Finally, you felt that was enough of the topic for one day. You went back to your original goal before you got sidetracked. You needed to pick what you wanted to wear to the beach. You chose to wear casual clothes instead. You picked a one-piece. You decided to wear a two-piece bikini. You chose a two-piece tankini. You wanted to wear a wetsuit. You wanted to wear swim trunks with a top. You decided to wear a Speedo with a top. Let's do swim trunks. Why not? Why not? While you dug around in your drawers, you tried to think if there was anything else you were missing. You took sunglasses, you grabbed a hat, you brought a shawl, you grabbed your board shorts. What are board shorts? You picked up a regular shirt to wear as well. You grabbed a full swimsuit cover up to wear as well. You took goggles. Well, I'm not wearing glasses, so I need some sunglasses. With that taken care of, you held your outfit together and looked to Cove. I gotta look cool as fuck on the beach. He was tapping his toes. I was gonna say his nose. He was tapping his toes on the side of the wall as he waited. Girl, if you didn't get your toes off my wall. You vaguely wondered if he thought that was a comfortable place to sit. You hoped so, given how long he perched on it. Regardless, it was time for him to go. You weren't going to put your beachwear with him just chilling there. You weren't going to put on your beachwear with him just chilling there. Gosh. The literacy rate today, so low. Well, I'm gonna change, so how about you wait outside? Cove nodded reassuringly. Alright. Cove lowered himself off the window and strolled past you to get to the door. He lightly brushed his fingers against your cheek when he passed by. I'll see you out front. Okay. When you were alone, you got undressed and put your swimwear on. You also checked your beach bag for the final time. It seemed like you hadn't forgotten anything. You left your room and hurried down the stairs, ready to meet Cove. You made sure to lock your front door and walked outside. Cove stood in the road, looking down, scuffling his feet on the asphalt. When you shut your heavy door, he looked at you and smiled. Hey! Hi. Miranda and Terry are gonna be here in not too long. Terry even texted me earlier saying she was mostly on schedule. Why don't we just head to the beach and wait for them there? We're both ready. That sounded like a good idea to you. You said as much, and Cove shot off a quick text telling the two of them where you'd be. Cove gave you a thumbs up after the message sent. It was a familiar path to walk, and it wasn't long until you reached the shore. Cove laid out his towel on the warm sand. You set up yourself beside him and looked out into the ocean. The rolling swells hit the shore rhythmically. You had looked out. It was a beautiful day. The sky was clear and the waves were good. It was a balmy summer day, with a pleasant breeze to keep things comfortable. Essentially, it was perfect, was it? I don't think I like balmy weather. Do you feel like heading into the water? Maybe just walk down the shore? Or would you want to do something here? Water's sound good, taking a stroll. I don't mind my feet being in the water. Let's take a stroll. You wiggled your toes in response to the comment and looked off into the shoreline. Cove nodded, accepting of the plan. He kicked some sand off his towel absent-mindedly. Yeah, sounds nice. You took a deep breath and tasted the relaxing salty air. Cove caught your eye and gave you a small smile. You chatted a little before a comfortable quiet settled over the two of you, content to watch the waves as you waited for the others. Song, welcome in. Welcome back, buddy. Luckily, it didn't take long until you heard shouts. You turned your head to see both Miranda and Terry running straight for you. Miranda was faster, making leaps and bounds across the sand. Terry followed in her wake, laughing with her towel clutched around her shoulders and flowing like a cape. Miranda started making her jumps more theatric and more precarious. As she got closer, Cove waved them on with a bright grin. I love Miranda. I think Miranda's so cute. There should be a DLC where I can date Miranda. You shouted a greeting, you cheered out their antics, you waved too, you laughed, you shook your head, you hoped they wouldn't fall. Shook my head. You had some ridiculous friends. Ridiculous. Like, look at her, she's so cute. I love her. She's pretty too. I don't know how I feel about that hair color though. The hair color and the eye color matching like that, it kind of throws me off a bit. The two officially arrived at Cove's and you're set up. Oh, okay. Looking completely ready for an ocean adventure. They were already in their swimwear and were raring to go. Hey Terry, Miranda, welcome to our beach. What voice did I give her? No, that's Miranda. Hi. Hello. I think I gave Terry a deeper voice. She beamed and Miranda nodded with a smile. Man, I'm so pumped. Yeah, I'm really glad this worked out. What have you guys been up to over here in your town, Cove? Princess? Have we missed things? Cove blinked and then shrugged when nothing he wanted to mention came to mind. You shrugged like Cove, you gave a vague answer, you gave a recap of how your family was doing. What have you been up to? I'm curious. The usual. Terry laughed and mentioned a few things about her own parents. Miranda brought up her family and shared some of the wild things her older brother had done. Oh, she's got an older brother. Interesting. Terry then started talking about her morning and how she almost overslept since she had stayed up too late last night. She bounced on her feet as she spoke. But don't worry about me being tired today. You know I ran on less back during school, did you? Miranda filled in the group about her morning. Apparently everything had gone smoothly. She met up with Terry on the way here and you knew the rest. Cove offered a suggestion to the girls. Hey, let's walk while we catch up. What do you mean catch up? Are we not like besties? What is there to catch up on? Oh yeah, definitely. You felt pleased that Cove remembered what you wanted to do. Sometimes he could be thoughtful like that. Oh, is that what I wanted to do? I'm just here for the ride, you know? Whatever everyone else wants to do, unless it's something I really don't want to do, I'm fine. Once everyone's stuff was settled on the beach, the group strolled over to the shoreline. The wet sand was cool under your feet. A wave rushed up and covered your ankles in water. You flinched from the suddenness of it, but by the next wave, you were acclimated. You took another step forward and sank a little into the ground. Behind you, your footprints were soon smothered by the waves. Your friends chatted as you all walked together. You took turns pointing out cool shells or pieces of sea glass. It was a relaxing jaunt. Hours passed, and the group had moved between different activities, some low-key and some more exhaustive. For you, it was another break time. You sat on your towel and sipped at some water. Sipped at some water. Your friends were hard at work, burying Terry's full body under a pile. See, I want to do that. Or maybe I don't. I don't know. Miranda used her arms to force up sand around Terry's sides. Cove worked on covering Terry's feet. You took another drink and closed your eyes. Eventually, a shadow passed over you, dampening the light that was still notably even behind your eyelids. Oh, it's just Cove. I was gonna be like, who the fuck's blocking my sun right now? It's just Cove. What do you want? What do you want, sweetums? You checked to see Cove had joined you there. He knelt down to dig around in the pile of assorted beach stuff in the middle of everyone's towel set up and pulled out the sunscreen. He took a seat next to you on his towel. He opened the bottle with a soft pop and began to reapply the cream. Hey. He ran his hands across his chest to work the sunscreen in, and you might have checked him out a little from the corner of your eye, while still sipping some water. Love, young love. When we get your back, you enjoyed the view. When we get your back? Oh, I'd like that. Okay, I'll do it. Thanks. Oh, this is cute. You scooted up behind your boyfriend and reached a hand around his front so he could squeeze a small pile of sunscreen into your hand. A small pile? No, we need to lather that shit on. You rubbed your palm together, spreading the cream out more evenly, then began applying it softly to his shoulder blades. From there, you moved to the tops of his shoulders and the nape of his neck and down his spine. Cove was mumbling the entire time. Girl, what are you mumbling for? But you couldn't make out what he said. He might not have even realized he was doing it himself. The tone of his voice and the look on his face got the message across just fine, however. He was happy and you were too. I don't know how I feel about this image. It looks like he has buck teeth here. Like he's a rabbit. And it's cute. I'm not gonna hit on his teeth. I just think it's cute because it doesn't look like he has those teeth any other time. It's just funny seeing his face look like that. He's cute. He's a cute little guy. He's like 7 feet tall. After he and you finished up, Cove let out a comfortable sigh and looked off into the distance. But then he sighed again, this time in an exaggeratedly disappointed way. You wondered if he was going to sigh again, even more dramatically if you didn't say anything. What's wrong? You honestly wonder. You wonder what it was. You raised an eyebrow. You chuckled. Oh, Cove, whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be okay. No. I'm curious. I'm curious. You inspected his face to see if there was anything actually distressed about him. But he still just looked like he was exaggerating. You asked anyway, since it was obvious that that was what he wanted. Oh my gosh, not him being me, over dramatic. Cove shook his head, comically despondent. His frown didn't match the sparkle in his eyes. I'm just becoming another jaded adult, that's all. Why are you a jaded adult? Don't do that. Now you were really confused. You waited for him to continue, and his next sigh did not disappoint. It was the most ridiculously sad sigh you've ever heard. Then he smiled a little. Mermaids aren't real. What? That had not been what you were expecting. He continued. You know how much I liked mermaids as a kid? Well, merfolk as a whole. I really hoped they were out there. I don't remember you ever liking mermaids, but maybe you did. Maybe my memory's just shit. Sorry, I'm a bad girlfriend. Or partner, I should say. I mean, the ocean's a big place, right? They could be somewhere. If they're anywhere, they're down at the deepest depths of the ocean, probably. But the older I got, the more I had to accept it. They were just a fairy tale. He jerked his head over to the waterline of the rolling waves. They crashed against the shore and then drew back. This is a perfect beach for them. It's pretty and vast and never too crowded. If merfolk did exist, we definitely would have met one by now. Or, at least, we would have heard of someone else seeing one. But nothing. He acted as though the result was a true bafflement. He let his head hang. I gotta let the dream go. You burst into laughter. It's hardly proof if it's not like this is the only beach in the world. You pretended to be shocked and disappointed. You shook your head. Wow, good for you for that revelation. There's hardly proof. They could still exist. You said the ocean is a big place. Cove chuckled a little to himself, eyes tilted off into the sea, his face still low. Maybe it's for the best. Let's say a merperson did happen to wash up on shore one day. He looked at you with a faux, doleful expression. I could have lost my partner to the magical underwater world. Oh yeah, I'd totally go live under the sea with the merfolk. Even if I had the chance, I'd stay on the shore with you. I'd go with a mer person, but only if you could come too. That's my response. That's my response right there. Cove grinned. He hadn't expected that answer. You're a nice person, princess, but what if they didn't want me? Would you seriously stay on land? You gave him a look. You meant what you had said. It only worked if the offer was for both of you. Are you sure that's the right call? If a beautiful, kind merperson falls for somebody, I'm pretty positive that the sensible response isn't to turn around and say, no thanks, I'm gonna stay on land with my normal guy. Are you warning me that you'd leave if you got that kind of offer? Why are you so sure I'd make that call? Since this is all hypothetical, why not have you be the mer person? I don't want that. I should get to be a mer creature and then I invite you to underwater. I mean, Cole, there's no one who could ever make me leave you. Are you warning me that you'd leave me if you got that kind of offer? That's me. That's a me response. You don't want me to be blindsided when you ditch me for a mer creature if they're real? No, that isn't what I'm trying to say. I'm not the one who'd have to deal with that, you know. It isn't the same kind of thing. If a mer person did magically appear, there's no chance it'd be me they'd call for. The more Cove spoke, the more it sounded like he could be a merfolk himself. He was choking on air, a fish out of water. I mean, you're the only one who's charming and talented. See, now that's not true. You are so charming and talented, you're just awkward. He barely eked the last words out. Is that how you say that? I've never seen that word before. Excuse me. There isn't anyone who wouldn't choose you. Oh? You were completely flattered by how highly he thought of you. Cove, you're so cute. You're so cute, buddy. And then you heard Miranda screech. Your attention immediately switched over to your friends. You saw that Terry had gotten impatient and shifted her legs. The walls Miranda had been meticulously built and collapsed into a wet heap of sand. She surveyed the damage critically. We're gonna have to start over on that part. Do you just want to give up on this now? No way. The burial must continue. I'll try not to move anymore. Okay, if you're sure, I'll try to fix this. Miranda started to rebury her, and Terry shot her thumbs up. She realized too late that moving her arm was a bad idea. More of the sand had crumbled, and Miranda put her head in her hands. Cove caught your eye and started to drag himself up. Seems like we're needed. You agreed and followed him over to the girls. Miranda nodded at you both with appreciation, and the three of you did your best to finish the job. You all worked out a system of using just enough wet sand to help hold the rest together. With 3 people, it didn't take long for Terry to be entombed. Terry grinned massively, and Miranda offered high fives. The pile was officially done. Oh yeah? Resembling the Kool-Aid Man, she kicked herself out of the ground with a gusto. Sand went flying in all directions, and a Terry-shaped imprint was left behind. Miranda yelled again, and Cove chuckled. There probably wasn't a better way to get out of it. The 4 of you continued to have a good time. You went on a shell hunt. Miranda managed to find the biggest, while you found the most colorful. Cove caught a tiny crab. Put it back. Drop the crab. You did a bit of everything. There were impromptu games to just soaking up each other's company. However, after a while, you all had run out of water. Drinkable water, anyway. It was decided that you'd head to your or Cove's house. Things were gathered, and you started to cheerfully walk up the road. What's next? I don't have anywhere to go, so it could be whatever. Same. I guess you can keep hanging out? Terry snorted and readjusted her grip on her things. Don't sound too sure there, Cove. By this point, you could see your house. It hadn't taken you long to make the trip. The conversation continued with everyone throwing out suggestions. Are people hungry? She looked from face to face in inspection. Cove and Miranda shrugged in concert. What are these words? These words. No one was overly opposed to it. However, you weren't really starving. It wasn't quite a meal time. We could get dessert. Miranda put a finger to her lip in thought. With a smile, her voice became more confident. Yeah, that would be fun. Terry considered it and then shot Miranda a thumbs up. Sounds great to me. I could definitely go for that. I think that's a good idea. But there's nothing sweet at my house. Your friends glanced at Cove in his place. He shook his head immediately. Dad doesn't have anything good either. I mean, unless you want dessert-flavored protein shakes. Ew, yucky. Ew, no. She cut in and held her hands up as if trying to ward off something evil. Cove smirked. I love Terry. She's for me. It's not that bad. There has to be some kind of sweet shop around here. Let's look it up. Terry nodded and started to dig around in her bag. I like the way you think. Terry continued to rummage in her bag and grew increasingly frustrated. She puffed out her cheeks and knelt down, setting the bag on the ground. With both hands free, she was finally able to fish out her phone. She raised it up in triumph for a brief moment of celebration. I'll search for something good. Terry got back to her feet, hefting the bag over one arm, tapping away at her screen in the other. But she assessed Cove from top to bottom. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Cove glanced down at his bare chest and feet, having not even registered it prior. He chuckled a little. I'll grab something. Cove moved over to his house. You looked towards yours. You decided to change as well. You went outside with the girls. I'd probably change too. You felt like you'd be more comfortable in something more streetwear than beachwear. You inclined your head over to the side. I'm gonna change too. Go for it. Well, wait. Miranda nodded with a smile. You ran into your house, no one was home, so you just rushed to your room and dropped off your beach stuff on your bed. You threw something on whatever you were wearing, on over whatever you were wearing. You completely changed. I'm completely changing. You stripped and found a suitable outfit to go hang out in. You slipped it on and felt satisfied with your decision. Oh, look at his little orca shirt. With that, you sped back outside. Cove was already there and gathered around Terry's phone with the girls. He opted to just add a shirt and shoes, apparently putting in the minimum effort for service. Hello again. You don't want ice cream, do you? You didn't have a choice to answer. She kept barreling through with her words. 'Cause I'm not into that right now. I don't mind her. You look nice, by the way. Terry scrolled further and then made an interested exclamation. Oh, what about this place? They sell crepes. There's something you don't see every day. Look how fancy they are. She shoved her phone into your face. It seemed like a cute shop. It didn't show any pictures of the actual building, but the food seemed good. It was one of those places that put a lot of effort into presentation with brand wrapping for the crepes and well-applied toppings. Weird. I've never heard of it. I haven't either. Mysterious. But crepes are so good. She nodded her approval as Terry admired more of the photos. I'd go. It's not too far, but we could drive. Can you drive? Can you drive, Cove? Terry cheered at the success of the planned meet. You all walked around the Cove's car. Okay, he has his own car. Okay, Cove. Okay, Cove. Big spinning over here. Got his own car. What else you got? What else you got, Cove? That I don't know about. He had to run inside once more to grab his keys. You wrote "wash me" and dirt on his car. Let's be a bitch. You noticed the thin coat of sand and dust on Cove's car. It had probably been a while since he'd washed it. With a smirk, you carefully wrote "wash me" with your finger. Good work. I wonder if he's even gonna notice. The car beeped and unlocked. Cove ran up to you with his car keys in hand. His hair slipped into his face and he brushed it back. Shotgun! She climbed into the passenger seat without hesitation. You didn't argue and climbed into the back with Miranda. How are you going to call shotgun in my boyfriend's car? That's wild. Terry activated the directions on her phone map and acted as their navigator, directing Cove to the crepes. The GPS tried to get Cove to turn to a non-existent road once and wanted him to do a U-turn instead of just using a left turn. But with Terry looking at the actual map, it went smooth enough. See, he's probably using Google Maps. That's why I don't use Google Maps. I use Apple Maps. That's the only good feature of Apple, is their map system. You were led to a small stall in a parking lot rather than a full building. That explained why there hadn't been pictures of the creperie's interior and why it was new to you despite living in this town your entire life. It was a completely new structure that popped up recently. There was a window you could walk up to and one for the cars to drive up to. Cove parked with a laugh. I don't think I needed to put a shirt on for this, but I still want to try it. Let's go. Do you not trust us to eat in your car? She gestured to the drive-through option. Cove shook his head with a snort. I trust some people here, maybe, but wouldn't it be more fun to actually check it out? Everyone acknowledged his point and piled out. Terry tried to tease Cove a little, but Miranda started talking about the last time she had crepes. Apparently, they'd been a dessert explosion, topped with multiple sauces, powdered sugar, and what Miranda was pretty sure had to be cake icing. That sounds like too much. I don't want all them sauces. I went to a crepe place before, and it was so good. I got like the Oreo one, because I love Oreo. And, I dream about that crepe. I dream about it. That's sweet. Literally, it was so good, but I regretted it so much. I couldn't finish it, and I really tried. You can do it this time, Randy. Ooh, this is cute. There were some laughs. When you got up to the menu, you realized that there were more than just crepes. Usually that's how it is. Except for the one that I went to, they just had crepes. That was it. That was all they had. There were definitely crepes, mini crepes. However, the stall also had a lot of different drinks as well. Teas, smoothies, milkshakes. Jackpot! She grinned and held out her fist for a fist bump. Miranda high-fived. Why are they like this? The two stared at the awkward, vaguely turkey-shaped hand configuration they had made, and then slowly put their hands down. Cove's mouth twitched in a smile. You stepped up to order first. You glanced back at the menu. I don't think I want a drink. I'll just get a crepe. I'd like a crepe, please. There was a woman who looked a little older than you taking the order. She smiled back at you, ready to hear the specifics of your purchase. For the crepe itself, you wanted plain. For the fillings toppings, you picked whipped cream. Obviously, I'm just looking. Whipped cream, powdered sugar, chocolate chips, and that was all. You paid and stepped aside to let your friends order. Cove got a lemon crepe with powdered sugar on top and the mixed berries. He also got a plain strawberry smoothie. Terry went crazy with toppings. Although she ordered a plain crepe, she had it smothered with whipped cream, cream cheese, chocolate chips, chocolate syrup, and bananas. That's a lot, but go off, queen. Miranda opted for a frappe with caramel syrup and condensed milk. She didn't want to get a crepe. She was just talking about getting a crepe, and she doesn't even want to get a crepe. What's wrong with you? Get a crepe. The four of you stood off to the side as you waited for your treats. Princess, man, your crepe is gonna rock. I know. High five for topping appreciation. She held her hand out expectantly. You know what? I'll give her a high five. You hit her hand with a satisfying smack. Order for Princess. Oh, I've got to get that. You grabbed your order. The others didn't take much time after that. With the goods collected, everyone admired their treats. Terry dug right into hers. Miranda gave hers a tentative sip. Terry nodded acceptingly with her mouth completely full. Miranda tilted the frappe over to her with a grin. Terry sipped it and clearly loved it. Aww, that's cute. This is friendship, or they're secretly dating, which is totally fine. She raised her crepe over to Miranda. You could tell that there was an intent to make it look nice, but with all the assorted toppings piled on, only so much could be done. Miranda took a huge bite with gusto and sighed happily. Terry seemed satisfied and took another sip of Miranda's drink. They had both only gotten one thing, probably because they knew they'd end up sharing. Aww, friendship! Or maybe lovers. Who's to say? Cove, you want to share ours? Nah, man. Terry and Miranda, can I go into the sharing? No. Offered to share your order with everyone? No. You said nothing and started consuming. I sure did. If I wanted what other people got, I would have got what they got. But guess what I got? I got what I wanted. And then he got two things. He got a crepe, and he got a smoothie. And what he had on his crepe, I do not want. It looked gross. It sounds gross. But that's because I'm a picky eater. You tasted your order and let out a happy sigh. You paid little attention to your friends and just focused on what you had. With that, Cole started to eat his treats in earnest. You saw him take a huge gulp of his smoothie, and then, without swallowing, he added a bite of his lemon crepe. I can't. Sir, what are you doing? His habit of mixing foods together wasn't anything new. He hummed in satisfaction as you guessed he must have liked the combined flavor. I feel like this is new, because I feel like he didn't like his foods to touch in his youth. And now here we are. Cove? Terry tore out a piece of her crepe and held it out to Cove. Care to make a trade? Sure. Instead of continuing to loiter in the parking lot, the four of you started to walk down the sidewalk. There were a lot of sharing going on, with crepe bits and toppings being passed around. You wouldn't have been surprised if Terry ended up drinking more frappe than Miranda did. You kept going down the way, eating, drinking, and chatting. You hadn't realized just how far the group had just wandered until you ended up at the now leaving sign. We sure do keep ending up at this sign, don't we? Apparently, you were about to just walk right out into the middle of nowhere. Terry took her mouth off of Miranda's straw and stopped sipping the frappe. Impossible! Preposterous! How are we already at the end? I always forget how tiny this town really is. Cove chuckled a little and swallowed a chunk of Terry's crepe, sorry. It kinda is, huh? It didn't feel that small when we were growing up. It definitely felt bigger then. It always does. It always seemed like there wasn't much here. There are tiny places out there. You guys are lucky to live in a decent-sized city. It definitely felt bigger then. There was a time when Sunset Bird had felt huge. It seemed as endless as the ocean. There was always some street you hadn't wandered down, something new for the tourists. But now, you had realized it was just a pond in this big, big world. Seeing the definite end only reinforced this. Here was a boundary that proved your hometown could be walked out of with ease. I guess this means we should probably head back. One doesn't just walk into nowhere land. We're not only one, Terry. There's 4 of us. Terry scrunched up her face, not wanting to acknowledge the bad joke. She decided to ignore it. Girl, that's the best course of action for that. It stinks having to go all the way back. Yeah, but it's not like there's anything out that direction. And if we did keep going forward, it'd be an even longer trip home. He stared off into the stretch of road as Cove agreed that he didn't want to go out any further. Can we take a break here first before we turn around? We've been walking for a while and someone finished my drink. Right on cue, Terry loudly sucked air from the straw. It was so good. Miranda looked at her, but Terry remained unrepentant. In the end, though, it was agreed to hang around the sign before heading back to the car. It didn't take long to finish the rest of the food and drinks. Everyone gathered up the trash and stuffed it into the bags and pockets for now. The group relaxed on the grass, keeping account of all the cars that drove past. It was not a high number. 14. The newest passing car drove into town from somewhere outside. But as the vehicle came by, it slowed down and you watched as it ultimately rolled to a complete stop. Oh my god, this is I want to say Sebastian, but I know his name's not Sebastian. I think his name's Baxter. It's just Baxter is what I'm meaning to say. The black car parked right by the now leaving sign. Everyone exchanged a baffled look. But then the tinted window rolled down and the driver peered out. As soon as you saw his hair, you recognized him. No one else you knew presented themselves so distinctively. It's best buddy Baxter. I don't know why I want to call him Sebastian. Hey, neighbors. Cove openly sighed when he recognized him, afterwards sucking sulkily at the straw of his long empty drink. You waved at him. Hi. You wondered what he was doing here. You wish he hadn't stopped to chat. You smiled. Were excited to see him. Am I excited to see him? No, but I will say hi. Hi. You inhaled and tried to be loud enough to account for the distance and car noises. It's nice to see you again. Somehow, he was able to project his voice in such a way that it still sounded smooth, even though he was definitely speaking loudly. You wondered where he'd learned to do that. Isn't he like a theater kid, or was he a dancer? I think he was a dancer. I mean, dancers and theater kids go hand in hand sometimes. And you thought about the odd picture this made. A fancy black car pulled over to talk to a group of teens, mostly still in beachwear. Miranda was incredibly confused and shrank back to watch. Terry tilted her head in an unspoken question. Cove made a quick gesture pointing towards Baxter, and a light bulb went off for Terry. Ah, that's a new person in the condo? The B-man, right? The B-man? Yeah, Baxter. Oh, I wasn't sure if I'd ever actually see him. Her voice was quiet. Miranda usually got shy around new people. Terry was quite the opposite. Me and Miranda, same. Incredible. This is perfect. Terry hopped up from the grass and ran to Baxter's car, all full of excitement. Behind her, Miranda picked herself up and dusted the imaginary dirt off her clothes. Not her trying to hitch a ride into town. Girl. She sent a searching look to you and Cove, to which Cove shrugged. Miranda nodded and, with clenched fists, hesitantly followed Terry. Terry bent down to talk to Baxter through his window. She blasted through introductions, with Miranda putting in a shy wave. Cove looked at you. He still clearly had no intention of going over. Oh my gosh, Cove. I'm gonna stay with Cove. When Cove realized you were planning to stay with him, he smiled a little. Cove shuffled closer and dropped his voice. I mean, we live, like, right next to him. We'll see him more often, probably. Honestly, I still find it kind of hard to talk to the guy. I get it, I feel the exact same way. You know he can still see you, right? He knows you're here. You kept quiet and got comfortable. I have a plan to fix that. Do you? Where are you gonna go? You're gonna go into the bushes? You're gonna run away again? He joked back with a thin grin. He pointed at Terry. She seemed to be hitting it off with Baxter and leaning half inside his window. Ooh, if they hit it off, I ship it. Why not? Why not? While he's distracted, we can make a break for it. Terry can keep him talking long enough for us to be in the next county before he realizes what happened. With a laugh, the two of you continued with the joke. Cove came up with an elaborate plan that you kept teasing him about. It was a fun conversation to pass the time with. The two of you waited for the others to finish up. You couldn't hear what they were saying from there, but you could see from body language that Terry was up to something. Miranda didn't like it. Oh, this is interesting. You and your neighbor exchanged a look. After Miranda seemed to calm down slightly, Terry turned around to wave at you. She put her hands to her face to make a megaphone. Come on, get over here. Baxter's gonna give us a ride. I knew it. Look at her. What are those people called? Where they like... I'm trying to explain this and I can't. They used to, hitchhiker. Hitchhiker, that's the word I'm looking for. She's a hitchhiker. I'm pretty sure that's illegal nowadays. Cole's mouth popped open in surprise. His lips curled together in clear displeasure. I should have known. She's always pulling something. He took a slow breath and then shrugged. Guess we have to get over there. It's gonna be pretty awkward now since he knows we tried not talking to him. I mean, I didn't try not talking to him. I was just being a homie because homies help homies, and I was like, I'm not gonna leave my homie alone. Yeah, we can't hide over here forever. You followed him over to the car, apparently about to get a lift. You were just happy to get a ride. You were kind of annoyed that Terry did this. You felt uncomfortable getting a ride from Baxter. I'm happy, girl. I'm gonna walk back. Bless. Regardless of anything else, you didn't have to walk back. That's what counted, and you were grateful to Terry for arranging it. I mean, if he's like a serial killer or a murderer, it's four against one. I definitely feel like we could take Baxter. He doesn't look that strong. You arrived at the driver's side car window, and Baxter smiled welcomingly. I mean, he's a dancer, so maybe he is kind of strong. Hello. Hey. Cove greeted him mildly, his expression cautious. Howdy, Baxter? I would never say howdy. That's not me. I would never say howdy out loud. Alright, plan made. Let's hop in. You excitedly opened the passenger side door and buckled yourself in. The car was pristine and you were right near the new car's tinted air freshener. Baxter had the air conditioner on cold but low, so it was pleasantly cool inside. A nice relief from the summer sun you have been baking in all day. Your friends clambered on in the back. It definitely seemed the slightest bit squished back there. Oh, well, that's so seductive. Last time I streamed this, the voice actor for Baxter came in, and I'm hearing his voice, and I'm like, you know what? That's a very nice voice. He does have a very nice voice. But that sounds so seductive. Like, sir, please, I have a whole boyfriend. Calm yourself. Welcome to my vehicle. I hope everyone is comfortable, and if someone could point me in the right direction, we can be on our way. Baxter does get fuckboy though, so I'm doing my fuckboy voice for him. Very badly, obviously. Terry went back to navigator mode and outlined their journey. It was basically a straight line with one turn at the end into a parking lot. Baxter nodded from up in the driver's seat and pulled back into the road. Luckily, the street was still dead empty. It took no time at all for Baxter to park right next to Cove's car. There wasn't even enough time for a proper conversation to start. The occupants didn't seem to mind. There were smiles all around when Baxter parked next to Cove's car. Woo! Miranda clapped quietly as Terry cheered. Cove chuckled nervously. You smiled. Yeah, you clapped as well. You nudged Baxter in a friendly way. Relieved you made it. I'm relieved you made it. The trip had gone without issue. Baxter hadn't sped excessively or stopped for another set of teenagers in swimsuits. He'd just driven down the road, and now you were here. You sighed a breath of relief and put your hand on the door handle. We've arrived. That was easy. Terry flung open her door and climbed out. Thanks. I mean, I could let her voice act that, but I don't know why I didn't. Everyone else exited the car as well. The group thanked Baxter with varying degrees of enthusiasm. Baxter himself got out too. Oh. Everyone congregated again in front of Baxter's and Cove's cars. Cove looked at the back of his and frowned. He finally discovered the wash me he put on it. Huh, I wonder who did that. He snickered along with Miranda, who realized you'd been caught. It's a mystery. Right. Terry bounced over to Baxter and offered her hand for a handshake. He accepted it easy with a charming grin. You're a pal. You're too kind. It's no trouble whatsoever. I'll be keeping this car all this summer if it suits you. You're welcome to take my number and give me a ring whenever you're in need of another ride. And that goes for everyone here. Okay, buddy. Okay. I have a car. Terry busted with laughter and Miranda fidgeted. She fidgeted. She didn't know what to do with that. Baxter really went fast, didn't he? He noticed her discomfort and smiled with a soft tilt of the head. I'd be happy to help again, but that's the only reason I offered. If you don't need it, you can pass on it. Can I have your number? No, I'm gonna stay silent. When her giggles subsided, Terry put a hand to her chin with the brows furrowed. I wonder, would that option be available right now? You could valet us somewhere cool. Exactly. What do you mean? Are we still hanging out? Are we not done yet? We've been hanging out all day. You need to go home? You're not tired? I'm tired. Cove was taken aback. He put a hand on the hood of his car. Weren't we going back to the neighborhood? Wasn't Baxter going back to the neighborhood too? Why would we go somewhere else? Because we can. Miranda squirmed nervously and then committed to piping up. Aww. We could go to the park near my place. It's a really nice place to hang out. You and Cove shared a look. The park was pretty nice. The big park was pretty nice. Let's do it. Baxter tapped the side of his face and thought. He said it's doable, it's doable. He glanced at Cove and then switched focus to you. We have 2 cars. If some people want to go to the park, I could still take the others home, but if everyone's going, it wouldn't make sense for me not to. You decided to go back to the neighborhood with Cove. You wanted to continue the hangout session at the park. Girl, I'm done here. I'm tired. Let's go back, Cove. we went to the beach. We hung out at the beach. Then we went on a little drive. Got some foods. And then we went on a walk. Are you guys not tired? This sounds like a busy day for me. You would rather go back for now. You let the group know. Both girls frowned. Neither wanted to leave you or Cove behind. Terry especially looked troubled and started bouncing in place. Today's all about us hanging out. We can't just bell. Miranda nodded and bit her lip. You don't have to go to the park. Going back to the neighborhood has plenty of appeal. It could prove to be the better idea. Cove went and shook his head. No, really. It's fine. We've done plenty of hanging out today. If you want to go to the park, you should. You don't have to worry about us. Go have fun with Baxter. Okay. She didn't sound too thrilled, and Miranda patted her on the shoulder. Guess we'll see you later then? Probably. Probably Cove. Cove smiled and she rolled her eyes at his wishy-washy answer. He knew you'd be seeing them again. Everyone finished saying their goodbyes, and the 3 climbed into Baxter's car. That's kind of dangerous, though. Like, do not leave your friends with strangers, okay? Baxter is technically still a stranger. We don't know him that well. We've only talked to him once. We don't know what's going on in that condo. This is something you don't do. Do not leave your friends, for one. Don't leave your friends at all. But don't leave them with strangers especially, because that's crazy. You don't know what could happen. You waved, bye, you nodded, you watched. I'll wave. Terry waved back with both hands enthusiastically, while Miranda waved like a princess from the back seat. I love Miranda. Before Baxter drove off, he inclined his head to you and Cove. Why? Then Baxter rolled down his own window. Why? Have a safe journey back. I'll see you around the neighborhood. Baxter started to pull out of the parking lot and Cove waved them off, stepping forward as they pulled away. Then it was just you and Cove left in the parking lot. He rubbed his hands together for a moment and unlocked his car. You got into the shotgun seat this time and Cove took his place at the wheel. The shotgun seat? You mean the passenger seat? The shotgun seat, I can't. He put his key in the ignition and turned to you. I'm surprised you didn't want to go. I was ready to go back. Thank you for giving me an out. You didn't respond to that. Actually, I only wanted to go so that you had a reason to leave. No. I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to go home. Cove smiled satisfied and finally turned his key to the car. If Cove knows anything about me, I'm ready to leave at almost any time. The car ride back past quickly. They were all familiar roads you'd seen before, soon you returned to the comfort of your own neighborhood. It's nap time is what time it is. Cove pulled in and parked. He shut off his car. Then you both got out to stand in the road. I guess that's it. Yep. Thanks for the ride, Cove. I'll see you later. Uh-huh. It was fun. Pleasant farewells given, you walked to your front door. Time ticked by as the sun started to set. Orange gold light streamed in through the windows. You could tell the weather was still real nice out there. Your attention was taken by your phone. You saw it right away as your phone was in your hand. Miranda's personalized text tone sounded. It pinged on your desk. Well, if it's Miranda's. You had different text tones for almost everyone important in your life. You know what? I used to do that when I was a teenager. Everyone had their own specific, like, vibration. And they had their own specific ringtone. But I don't do that anymore. And you know why? It's because I don't want people calling me. Text me. I don't want a call unless I really feel like I need to talk to you. That's the only reason I would ever want to call someone. You had different text tones for almost everyone important in your life. You thought Miranda's was especially fitting. It played and you snatched it up to check your phone. What text tone do I think Miranda would have? Like, because I'm not assigning like songs, I'm assigning vibrations. Is she a quick one? I feel like she's a zippy vibration. She'd be like zzz, like that. Or maybe she'd be like a bubbly one, like zzz, zzz. You know what? Who knows? Who cares? Not me. I don't have her number. I mean, I do in the game, but not in real life. Yeah. Hi, princess. You're gonna see fireworks. Oh, good for you. Do you want to come? Fuck no. Oh. And Terry texted Cove. He said he'll be there. Good for Cove. He can have fun. I don't do fireworks. How did their trip start at hanging out in the park and end up finding some previously unknown fireworks spectacular? No, spectacle is what I meant to say. It was definitely news to you. Fireworks? No. No, sorry. You type a response to Miranda and let her know your plans didn't include fireworks tonight. Miranda sent back an okay and wished you a nice night with a smiley face. You hit the lock button and gently dropped your phone on your bed before you flopped down to relax. If these were my real friends, they would not be asking me if I wanted to go see a fireworks show. I do not like fireworks. Like, yeah, I guess they're pretty, but they're so loud and they scare the animals, and I'm scared because I don't like loud noises. It's not fun. It had been quite the day for you after all, had it been? From the beach to Crips and the meeting up with Baxter, it had definitely been busy. Your eyes felt heavy and you shifted to get more comfortable. You let yourself drift off to the memories of today's waves. Interesting. Reflection. Ooh, what's reflection? After finishing breakfast at the Holden's house, you and Cove had retreated to his room to relax before starting the day in earnest. Or perhaps you would take it easy for the whole afternoon. Now, his room definitely looks a bit different. Is that a laptop? What is all... Are those bracelets? Is that his bracelet? And his necklace? His choker? You know what? Cove really gives like he'd wear a choker. Why does he have this map? Why is it iridescent? It's kind of a vibe. He just never changed these curtains. That's interesting. A glass of... He has a whole water picture in his room? That's crazy. Why is his room so neat? Why am I judging him? Let me just continue. You know what I am? Let me judge him once more. This tank seems too small for these fish. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. Get a bigger fish. Get a bigger tank for the fish. That's what I have to say. Okay, you can continue. After finishing breakfast at the Holden's house, you and Cove had retreated to his room to relax before starting the day in earnest, or perhaps you could take it easy for the whole afternoon. None of you had plans exactly, so you were free to do whatever came to mind. You were leaning against Cove in his bed. You fiddled with the Rubik's Cube Cove had around. I cannot solve a Rubik's Cube. I think I mentioned this before, last time we played this, like a few episodes back, but I can't. It just looks hard, and there's tutorials, but I'm stupid, so. You stood watching Cove's fish swim idly around their tank. You sat next to Cove on the bed, toying with his hair. You sat on the ground, doodling pictures in the sand scattered across the floor. You know what? I'm gonna play with his hair. I love playing in hair. That's like a nice hair. I don't like playing in everyone's hair. I don't like playing in my hair, but Now that now that my hair is like this, I definitely like playing in it now. You run your fingers through the short strands, flipping them between your fingers as if you were a hairstylist accessing a new look. Really though, you just like the way the bristles tickle your fingers. See? She gets it. Sensory. It's a sensory experience. It's a nice sensory experience. I don't like bad sensory experiences. I don't think a lot of people like bad sensory experiences. Anyway, even with your mind elsewhere, you could tell Cove was similarly at ease. He had his chin propped up with one hand as he scrolled through his phone. A burst of laughter broke the silence, hooking your attention and bringing you back to the present. You looked at Cove for an explanation. His eyes now crinkled with mirth. I don't think I like the word mirth. Something about it doesn't feel right. We're still locked on his screen. What's so funny? He finally looked up at you, smirking. Dad scanned some old photos. You know. He drew a rectangle in the air with a phone-free hand. Printed out ones back from when I was little. He texted it all to me last night, I guess. I've been checking them out. That made you laugh? That's interesting. You're looking at your kitty photos. It didn't tell me. Can I see? That's cool. You smile. That sounds nice. Can I see? I want to see them. Cove narrowed his eyes. Smile still bent. I was gonna show you. I just wanted to look at it first to make sure there was nothing super embarrassing. You never know with my dad. I mean, that's even more reason to show me. Because I want to see. You know, I text Gil my little baby pictures. He doesn't give me anything back. I get nothing. He doesn't say, oh, look how cute you were. I get nothing. It's silent. It's crickets. It's okay, though. I know I was cute. He grimaced, envisaging. What horrors his dad's might unwittingly spring on him. I don't know if that's how that's pronounced. There's so many words that I don't know how to pronounce now. So many words. I mean, what if there's a photo of me getting potty trained or something? That's weird. That's not on me. That's on your weird dad for taking that picture. You suppressed an empathetic shudder and nodded. You left the Cove's fraught expression. His picture is supposed to be embarrassing. It's part of the fun. It's not part of the fun. Yeah, that sounds like something your dad would do. Cove only cleared his throat nervously, the fear of his dad's well-meaning action still looming large in his mind. Anyway, before we forget, I was laughing because I came across a Halloween one from when I was 8, the year I was a zombie, remember? He shook his head, grinning wryly while holding the phone out to you. Did I know you that year? I think I did know you that year. Oh, yeah. Definitely did, because that scar is there. This is a terrifying picture, by the way. I do not like this picture. I never even liked zombies. All I wanted was to show off my new scar, and it needed to be something scary. I couldn't be a normal person who had a scar, according to my 8-year-old mind. I was a little dork. You sure were, and you still are. Dad really wanted to be useful as usual. He came up with the idea of being an undead person. It was pretty good, huh? Man, I was so jealous of that look. It was good. My costume that year was better. Liz was grossed out and Charlotte was terrified. I remember you getting lots of extra candy when adults realized the scar was real. It was hard seeing your arm like that. I don't really remember. It was hard seeing your arm like that. His cast hadn't been off for long by that point. You remembered worrying about his injury. It seemed painful with its deep red, fresh skin. Ew. This is graphic. Cole smiled sympathetically. Sorry. You smiled back, not wanting to put a damper on the story. I can't believe how much larger my scar used to be. Is it not still large? He looked down at his arm, a soft smile on his face, and traced what remained of his jagged line with his fingers, just as you'd seen him do countless times before. His voice was playful and he spoke again. Look how tiny it is now. How am I going to pretend to be tough without a big scar? Cove, you've never fooled anyone. I can't, these responses. You're relieved that he accepted and even liked his scar. It's definitely a blow to your street cred. It still looks cool. You better not do anything stupid to get a new scar, you joked, wagging a finger at him. You sighed in a long, suffering way. Let's be dramatic. Cove smiled bashfully, pleased with his joke, and ducked his head to look away from you. His fingers were still tracing the scarred patch of skin. I really do like having this, even if it is kind of little these days. His voice was shy, like he was letting you in on a big secret. Aww. Cove turned back to face you fully, finally letting go of his scar. Sorry. I don't know, I started holding my nose for some reason. I don't know why. He was happy. The mark was a part of him and clearly held meaning for Cove. Reaching over, you laid a reassuring hand on his arm where his scar was. Can I touch your scar? Let's be lovey-dovey. Let's give him that action. You cupped his arm with your fingers carefully as your thumb ran down the outline of his scar. Along with the rougher tissue of the scar, you could also feel goosebumps on his arms. Oh my gosh, I gave him goosebumps. He's crazy. He's crazy. He's wild. He's so in love with me. Cove felt a choked breath, a dizzied smile playing out on his face. It was evident that he liked the feeling. Okay, weirdo. Okay, weirdo. You lifted his arm up to kiss the scar. Let's be dramatic. You know me, I gotta be dramatic. It's something I have to do. Your hold shifted so you could bring his forearm to your face. Cove quietly gasped when he realized what you were doing. You tenderly kissed the old wound that marked him. Cove squeaked at the feeling of your lips on him, and in that spot in particular, but his expression was overwhelmingly one of adoration. I can't with his mouth. Why is your mouth squiggly? Cove couldn't stay still and reached for him. Cove couldn't stay still and reached for you himself with his free hand. His fingers softly caressed a scar marking your arm. I have scars on my arm? He leaned forward, eyes gleaming. Hold on, let me go back. Log. His fingers softly caressed a scar marking your arm. Okay, I guess I'm the one with the scar? I got a scar too now? That's interesting. Can I kiss you? No, I'm joking. His cheeks burned red as he closed the gap between you, his mouth gently meeting yours. You held onto his arm like a lifeline as you kissed him back, briefly worried that you might drown in the depths of your feelings. Oh my gosh. Then you opened your eyes, meeting Cove's, and knew that the feeling was mutual. Oh my, we're so dramatic. I love this for us. We love a drama couple. He laid his forehead to rest against yours. You felt his hot breath tickling your face. His heads touching, your hand on his arm, you were entwined with Cove. It felt so right. Time couldn't register in that moment. It could have been seconds or minutes, but eventually you straightened up, lifting your hand from his scar. That seemed to break his spell. Though he stayed close to you, Cove sat up and came to his senses. Your eyes drifted back to the scar on Cove's arm. The scar had been there as long as you'd known Cove, though when you first met, it had been concealed by that neon pink cast. Do you want to hear how it happened? How it was hurt? Didn't you already tell me? I feel like he told me before. You were initially stunned that he guessed what you were thinking, though given the topic of conversation and the direction of your gaze, it was a natural conclusion to reach. Not bothered by your reaction, Cove continued with a shrug. I don't mind telling you. It's nothing special. I mean, go ahead, tell me again, because I've definitely forgot, but I do feel like he did tell us. He rubbed the back of his neck, grinning sheepishly. Mostly, it's just really dumb. You nodded. There was something you'd like to hear more about, especially knowing that no lasting harm had come of it. Cove stared into the distance, his lips parted as he readied the story in his mind. So, me and my dad and mom were at a party. I didn't know if it was casual get-together or a specific celebration. I hope it wasn't for something meaningful, considering how it ended. He winced, then managed a bashful smile. Anyway, Mom and Dad were off doing stuff, talking to people. I guess I was left with the other non-adults. Most of them were older than I was. Maybe all of them were. His brow furrowed as he tried to recall dusty memories. Then he shrugged again and continued. The older kids were taking turns on the jet skis. There weren't enough for everyone to ride at once, so in between turns, they were hanging out on the shore. Where were you? Where is this party at? Were you on the beach? I was meant to just sit there with them and watch. Yeah, he did tell us like a jet ski incident happened, I think. Remembering when you first met Cove, you bet that he hadn't been satisfied with that arrangement. He confirmed that suspicion. I was pretty unhappy. It wasn't a party for me, not when all I could do was look at other people have fun when I couldn't. The teens must have realized that, though I never hid when I was pouting as a kid. Yeah, I know, you were grumpy all the time. Only when you were a kid? Cove bristled with embarrassment. It looked pretty sulky to you. Oh, look at him. Come on, let me finish the story. Alright. Cove sighed, letting go of the interruption, oh my gosh. And picking up where he left off. Basically, someone offered to let me ride. I was way too small to drive it myself, but the older kid, they must have been at least 16, so I could sit in the front with them when they controlled the jet ski. I knew I wasn't supposed to do anything like that. Still, I figured my parents were doing whatever they wanted, so why couldn't I? I nodded at the person. I remember the other teens helping me onto the jet ski, along with the one driving. We sped off into the water. Cole smiled widely and wistfully. It was amazing. At first, my hair was flying everywhere as we zoomed away from the shore. I love being out on the water like that. Too bad it turned out steering a jet ski with an 8-year-old sat on your lap was harder than a bunch of kids figured it would be. The teen tried their best, but they couldn't keep control for long. We got spun around and went right into the sand. You sucked in a deep breath. The other person wasn't hurt, thankfully. They held onto the bars and stayed in their seat. I didn't. Shame. I was thrown at full speed into a rocky part of the shore near the dock. Oh, damn. Bruh, that's fucked. I must have tried to brace for impact or catch myself because my arm is what I mostly landed on. He looked down at the limb in question. You could see him visualizing a long-healed injury. It was pretty torn up. After that, it's hazy for me. I got taken to the hospital. I didn't feel a lot of pain when it first happened. All I remember thinking was about how I was covered in sand and the grains were uncomfortable. The sand was uncomfortable? Cove chuckled. I know, right? I didn't start feeling my arm later. It definitely hurt eventually. The doctor said my arm was broken along with being torn open. Oh my god, this is so graphic. That's how I ended up getting my pink cast. Is it that graphic? Maybe it's just graphic for me because I'm visualizing it and I can see it. He smiled nostalgically. That color. It seemed just nice and happy at the time. It brightened the moon, so I picked it. The smile faded. He finished the story with a sigh, his eyes downcast. I feel bad I didn't do any of that. I hope whoever that teen was, they weren't traumatized by seeing a small kid go flying into the ground. They were just trying to do a nice thing. Cove threw arms out to the side dramatically. I wish I knew who they were so I could give them a call and say I'm still in one piece. But yeah, that's the full story. I'm so glad you were both okay in the long run. I'm sorry that happened. You laughed. What a terrible idea it was. How could you be so reckless? You didn't know how to react. I'm glad you're both okay. That's the important thing. Cove sighed again, the regret written plainly on his face. It was a failure. That's the truth. He smiled flatly. But, to my credit, I think I've grown a lot since then. Wait. Cove's eyes went completely wide. Suddenly reinvigorated, he seized his phone and tapped away at the screen. What's up? I knew it. You weren't sure that he'd heard you, but he set his phone down and turned to face directly to you. His face was resolute. Though the glow of the screen was no longer reflected in his eyes, they seemed to sparkle even brighter than before. He looks angry. Why does he look so angry? Princess, we're adults. We can decide things for ourselves now. Yeah. And? Yeah, and? Okay, so? Okay, where is this going? This can't be going anywhere. I like where this is headed. You would her. Okay. The age requirement to rent a jet ski in California is 18. We could totally do it. This is what you want to do? This is what you want to do? Really? I mean, okay. Let's use our adult powers for a jet skiing adventure. You want to break another bone? There are more exciting things adults can do, you joke. I'm just gonna be shocked. This is where you went with this? Cove pouted, his lower lip jutting out, which didn't back up what he said next. I'm not a little kid. You don't have to worry. I mean, out of all the things, this is what you want to do? I mean, okay. I don't think I'll be joining you, but I'll watch. Make sure you don't break another arm. Within a moment, Cove had recovered and returned to his serious expression from before. I'll be careful, and I really want you to be there when I try again. Please. His voice was soft and earnest. You could tell how much the request meant to him. You also knew him enough to know that he wasn't going to give up on this idea. Letting him go on his own wasn't an option. I can't have you running off by yourself. I'll go, without any hospital trips. I actually love jet skiing. I'd be interested in trying jet skiing. I'll keep an eye on you from the shore. I am not into extreme sports. I mean, I might try it once, but like maybe for like 10 seconds. Cove perked up once again, a grin. I could not read. Cove perked up at once. A grin stretched wide across his face. I'm just adding words and letters where they just don't belong. He was practically bouncing in place. Let's go. Oh, we're going now. Okay. We're not planning on this? Do you have the money? You probably do. But now? You got up and worked as a team to gather everything needed for the trip. What do you need for the trip? Do you have your ID? Do you have proof that you're 18? Where's your swimsuit? Cove's other aquatic hobbies came in handy, and he was quickly kitted out with everything he'd need other than the jet ski themselves. You needed to run back home briefly, having dressed and prepared for a day that didn't involve jet skiing. But soon enough, you were both ready and jumping into Cove's car. As you got in, you learned that Cove had used the brief time apart to locate a rental store on his phone. Of course he did. Of course he did. A hydrate and a stretch? Got it, boss. On it. Hydrating now. Hydrated. I do the stretch. Yeah. Okay, I've stretched. I've completed the tasks. Eee! My headphones. Okay. Give me a second. Let me get this thingy. This is what I want. And yes, do that. Do all that good stuff. Okay. You caught his eye as you clicked your seatbelts into place. Excited, you held out a hand. Cove slapped it in a high five before setting off. Not as high-fiving. Girl, if you don't hold my hand. You and Cove soon arrived. The ocean was perfectly inviting today. The deep blue of the water glittered under the clear sky, while the tide rolled in and out at its leisure. I'm so excited for this. You were just as pumped as he was. His excitement was adorable. You felt a little worried. You felt a chill of fear. You were really doing this. I think he's adorable. Seeing how pleased you were, Cove grinned at you. Oh, hey, want to say hi to my dad while we're here? I've already texted my mom about the plan. Is your dad here now? You texted your mom too? I can't. You're so adorable. He's working right now. You remember how close his shop was. It wouldn't take long, even by walking. Sure, we can do that. You weren't exactly close with Mr. Holden, but you couldn't tell Cove not to go see his dad. I'm not close with Mr. Holden. Just because I think this man is weird, that doesn't mean we can't be close. Sorry. Thanks. Sorry it might be kind of awkward when he hears why we're here. But it should be alright. I mean, my parents forgave me a long time ago for that amazing stunt. I don't want to be scared off jet skiing for my whole life because of it. You wondered which of you Cove was attempting to reassure. It was only a short walk down the dock to Mr. Holden's scuba shop. Cove breezed in, as familiar with the store as he was with his own home. The place was quiet, empty aside from a couple of customers quietly browsing and Cove sat behind the counter. Mr. Holden looked up, his friendly expression spreading into a grin when he saw who had just entered. Hi, princess. Hey, sport. What brings you all the way out here? He cast an eye at the way the two of you were dressed. I'm reading comprehension, I can't. Judging by how you're decked out, I'm guessing scuba diving. There's plenty here for that. What can I help you with? Cove chuckled, amused by how quick his dad seized on a favorite topic. Or maybe it was how his dad always fell over himself trying to be helpful. Hi, Dad. We're not doing that this time. We sort of decided to go in a couple of jet skis. A couple? You mean one. You mean a singular jet ski. The phrase jet skis had set Mr. Holden's mouth in a taut line immediately. Jet skis. Not him having war flashbacks. He echoed the words as his eyes instinctively darted to the scar on Cove's arm. That's when Mr. Holden started to speak several times, each attempt quickly abandoned. Cove smiled encouragingly, trying not to add to his father's worries. I promise I'll be careful, and Princess will be there too. What the fuck am I supposed to do? But that's a real question. Like, what do you want me to do? Do you need me to drive you to the hospital? Is that what you want? I don't have my driver's license yet. How am I gonna drive you? Gonna call you an ambulance? You're gonna be just be there. Should I call your dad? I mean, I guess we could call your dad. Your dad knows how to drive. I guess I know what I need to do in case anything happens. We always look out for each other. Oh, okay. Mr. Holden pinched his face back into an unconvincing smile. Alright, you're a whole lot bigger now that you were back then. Heck, you can drive a car and everything. I'm sure you and Princess will have plenty of fun. Girl, I am sitting my ass down. I am not on this jet ski. The worry still echoed out in his voice, barely concealed by the positive words, but Cove was buoyed by his father's support. Yeah, well, we're all set. We only stopped by to say hi and let you know since we were over here. Mr. Holden beamed, obviously moved by his son's simple consideration. Wow, you're so thoughtful. Thanks for taking the time. Dad, you don't need to thank me for that. Mr. Holden simply laughed at his son's response. It'd be great if you could keep me in the loop while you're out here too. Just text me and let me know if it goes well or anything. I will. His dad smiled more easily. Cove rubbed his arm, causing Mr. Holden's eyes to momentarily twitch back to the childhood injury, not him having PTSD about his child's injury. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Also, if you heard that noise, that's my my shirt making noises on my armrest. We're gonna head out now. See you later. Take care. See you. That's me. See you, Mr. Holden. Mr. Holden waved you off as you left the store. How come I don't get a see ya? How come I don't get a see ya? You're gonna be my father-in-law. The pair of you headed back to the docks, walking side by side. After your feet hit the boards, Cove's pace fell. Glancing over, you saw him looking down, out over the water. That wouldn't have been unusual if his expression hadn't been so somber. Are you sure you want to do this, Cove? Because we cannot rent these. I'm down for whatever you're down for. He wasn't geared up with anticipation or even nervousness, but with an uncharacteristically lethargy. There we go. Something was weighing heavy on his mind. Cove, what's up? You're gonna walk right off into the sea. Don't pay attention. Cove. Huh? He blinked, startled by your... He blinked, startled by you interrupting his rumination. He sighed. Though you toward his attention from the ocean, it gradually drifted back to the water. You cleared your throat, unwilling to lose him again. Sorry. Again. He put his hands to his face, rubbing his eyes wearily. Here I go, thinking everything's resolved with what's happened, and we can have fun, but I can't just enjoy anything. I had to find something else to get stuck in my head. You're having second thoughts about jet skiing? That's not it. Ooh. The ends of his lips were drawn into the beginning of a frown, like gray clouds clustering to signal a coming storm. I figured my dad would be a little worried about me doing it, but what he was saying, it wasn't what I expected. He was so sad. It was more than nervous. I think he feels bad, and now I feel bad, but it isn't as if I'm the only one who ever does something stupid or gets hurt. It got me thinking about the whole time. That's when I realized it wasn't long after that accident that my parents separated. Oh shit. That's heavy, bro. What do I say to this? Do I stay silent? You know what? I'm gonna stay silent. This does not count. I should not be saying anything. Continue at your own pace, babes. As a kid, I didn't think about the consequences of my actions, you know? Or how what I did impacted other people. Like, why would anyone care? I'm the one doing it, not them. I mean, I understand this a bit, yeah. It made no sense, and I still cared when other people did things I didn't like. But I was 8 and mostly just mad that nothing felt like it was in my control. I hate that feeling. I still feel like that sometimes. You could tell he was building up to something, so you nodded for him to continue. I was pretty difficult to deal with because of that attitude. But looking back, I think that's what saved me from something a lot of kids go through. What's that? Blaming themselves for their parents' divorce. Oh, interesting. It never crossed my mind that anything I did made a difference on my mom and dad's relationship. They would do what they did no matter what. I mean, yeah. Now, though, I guess it's kind of hard to ignore that thought, huh? Their situation was already so hard, and I wasn't a good kid, so... Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know what to say to that. My parents divorced too, not in the game, but like in real life. And my parents divorced when I was like 14. They were separated, and it was a whole bunch of drama. And they finally got a divorce when I was 18, and it was crazy. It was a whole bunch of drama. But like as a little kid, that's gotta be different. I mean, I was still a child, yes, but it's a lot different facing your parents going through a divorce as like a young child as opposed to a teenager. Like your whole perspective on things changes, and I guess that's a good thing that he didn't blame himself, because that'd be hard. That would be really hard. Did I blame myself? I did blame myself. Do I still blame myself? Maybe a little bit. He left his words adrift as he looked down, the conclusion unfinished. It was silent between you. But only for a second. Cove pulled himself up to his full height, his chin held aloft. Whatever he decided, he was resolute. I'm going back. I gotta talk to my dad. I'm not gonna let things be like before, where I just feel crappy and refuse to even tell him what's going on. That doesn't work for either of us. You can go ahead if you want. I won't mind. I still really want to do this, and I'm sure it'll be okay. Alright, I'll see you later. You nod, you shake your head. I want to stay with you. There's no way you're going off on your own. There's no way you can leave me here by myself. You crazy? We always look out for each other, remember? Cove smiled gently, having wanted that deep down. Thanks. Let's go. You and Cove retook your steps toward the dock once more, heading back to Mr. Holden's scuba shop. The customers you spotted in there before are now leaving the store, new bags clutched in their hands. You hoped that this would mean Cove could have his conversation without a public audience. This time, Cove strode into the shop with purpose. Mr. Holden, still at the counter, glanced up to greet whoever had come in. He grinned as you approached. Hello again. Forgot something? Sort of. Cove had reached the counter now. You needed to rush just to keep up with him as he crossed the show floor. I mean, he's a lot taller than me. I already walk slow, so I'll probably be catching up to him like a paragraph into his whole lament. Mr. Holden raised an eyebrow, taking Cove's shift in attitude, and chose his next words with care. Is everything alright? Cove swallowed, not answering initially. Talking openly with his dad was still somehow new for the son. For the son, I can. You knew that he was struggling for the right way to begin. I wanted to ask about what happened. Mr. Holden winced as if the words had struck him physically. The accident? No, the divorce. The pained expression fell from Mr. Holden's face. Wide-eyed, his jaw slack, he gaped at Cove. Why? Cove glanced over his shoulder at you. As your eyes met, you saw him draw confidence by having you by his side. He turned back to his father. I want to know the truth. His tone was grave. Did me getting into the accident hurt your marriage? If it hadn't done it, would you and Mom have gotten along better? No, hell no. Ooh. Damn. Mr. Holden quashed the suggestions with a gravity you'd rarely heard in his voice. You were 8 years old. You're not responsible in any way. Kyra and I should have protected you. But where were you? Where were you, really, honestly, truthfully? I can understand why you're feeling that. What happened was so horrible. How could it not have an impact? It did. It was a reflection of us as parents. The relationship between just your mom and me was separate and already unsalvageable. Cove turned away, his brow still furrowed as he looked at the floor. Maybe I'm just anxious and it's taking over, but it wasn't just then. I always caused problems. He plowed on, unwilling to give up without explaining his worries. What if I'd been easier to raise? If you'd had me later on? Maybe if you didn't have me at all, it might have been better for the two of you. If I didn't have you, then what good would my life be? Oh, tell him. Tell him, Dad. Mr. Holden didn't let the words hang unchallenged in the air for even a second. He hurried over to Cove, taking his son's arm in his hands. Cove, listen. There's only one person to blame for things not working, and that's me. Oh? Oh? Elaborate, please. Cove opened his mouth to speak, but Mr. Holden forced on, determined to erase any question in Cove's mind. I'm not saying this is I'm not saying this to dishonestly push accountability off from someone else or to throw a pity party for myself. You want to know the truth? So that's what I'm giving you. Tell us the tea. Relay it. I want to know. I'm nosy as fuck, bro. Your father is the reason our family couldn't stay together. Were you unfaithful? You think you caused trouble? You should have seen me at your age. You're such a good kid. I can hardly believe how good you are. That's my doing. I raised Cove, so technically he's kind of like my child too. But then that makes it weird. It makes it weird because we're dating. Mr. Holden's eyes were misty as he squeezed his son's arms. There's nothing, absolutely nothing you need to blame yourself for. I'm sorry, Cove. To you and to Kyra. But what did you do? What did you do? Mom? Yeah, your mom. His pained face eased slightly into a bittersweet smile. Kyra was just so smart and driven and completely bursting with life. It was as if she could do anything. You know this is a personal moment, Mr. Holden, but I like your shirt. Honestly, same. I'd probably do something like that. I'd be like, when is the best time to tell this man that his shirt's fucking groovy? There wouldn't ever be a good time, so I would just say it as soon as he was done. I'd be like, I don't mean to be rude or interrupt or anything, but I really like your shirt. Okay, please continue. Sorry about that interruption. You know, there wasn't a single solitary person who didn't want even a piece of her attention, just to catch her eye for a moment. True, because Kyra's a baddie. She's a MILF. She was a baddie, she still is a baddie, but now she's a MILF and a baddie. And I love that for both of us. But for some crazy reason, she had a soft spot for my 17-year-old screw-up self. 17? That's when we first met, though it definitely took some time before I managed to ask her out on a date. Now, how old was she? Was she also 17? Where did you guys meet? I need to know the full story here. Mr. Holden shook his head, the smile melting as his recollection became solemn once more. And then we'd only been officially together for about 6 months when we found out we were having a baby. I was so worried, so scared, but she was so brave. A baby? At 17? Sir? I'm not judging him. It happens. I mean, should it happen? Should definitely be using protection. Sometimes protection fails. But 17, sir, you couldn't wait. You had to get in there? I get it. I understand. Maybe. I can't though. 17. So, they would have been 18 when Cove was born. So that means your dad's 18 years older than you? That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, it's not crazy because it happens, but that's crazy. Imagine. My mom was like, what? 30? I think my mom and dad are like 30 years older than me. That's why it's crazy to me. But my mom and dad are like 26, 27 years older than my brother. And that's crazy to me too, because it kind of happened to my family. Like, my mom and dad, they met, and then like, I think it was like a few months later, my mom got pregnant, and then my dad was like, let's get married, because, you know, no baby's out of wedlock. And so they got married. And then after they got married, they had, my brother, let's see. like 6 months later. Yeah, they had him like 6 months later. It was crazy. I say that as if I was there. I just know what they told me. I just know what my mom's told me. There's my mom's version of the story, and then there's my dad's version of the story. My dad thinks he's innocent. He thinks he's so innocent. But I've combined them. I've thought it through. They're both wild. They're both crazy and wild for that. But they're adults. It's crazy because 17, you're still a baby yourself. Like, not physically, not literally, but you're a child still. And even 18, 19, you're still, like, learning what it is to be an adult. And I don't even think I fully know what it's like to be an adult. And I'm 25. I'll be 26 next month. That's crazy to me. We're already in March. We're in the middle of March. And my birthday is so soon. It's coming up so soon. I'm scared. Anyway, and then we'd only been officially together for about 6 months. We found out we were having a baby. I was so worried, so scared, but she was so brave. Right? Same. Yeah. I mean, I had a friend in high school who had a baby. She was a great friend. We're friends on Facebook, but we don't talk right now. Like, there's no particular reason we don't talk. It's just our lives are vastly different. But I was there for her. I was there for her and her baby, her first baby that she had. I hope they're doing well. I hope everyone's doing well. She was my rock. But we both knew the road ahead was going to be rockier. When we got married, I didn't see it as a dream come true. I wasn't about to start living my life in the only way I could imagine doing so. I thought what happened, and throwing my cards in with a girl like her was worth the risk. Okay, so why is it your fault? Why is it your fault though? Like, what did you do? He grimaced, the sentence soured his mouth, regretting his past perspective. I've been taking care of myself on my own, getting by. Then all of a sudden I was gonna have a wife and a child. So I thought, alright, I'd better step things up and take care of all of us. And that's what I did. Sort of. He rolled his eyes. Did you? Because y'all got divorced when he was like, what, 8? What was that? What's 18 plus 8? Don't tell me, I'll figure it out. 26? You were 26? Yeah. I made money, kept a roof over our heads, and put food on the table. But I was always busy, focused on taking care of things. I didn't stop to consider what anyone else was thinking or what they actually needed. I made every decision about what I did, and as a result, what happened to the family by myself. Never asking what your mom felt or even wondering if she might have an opinion. Ooh, yeah, that's bad. I'd tell Kyra about the great place I'd found and how we'd be moving there in the same breath. Or that I'd spend all our savings and taking out a loan to start this business we're standing in. And even more nonsense. Anything I felt I needed to do, I did. See, yeah, consult with your partners before you just start doing shit. Because this is not okay. Like, I understand now the divorce. Kyra couldn't even ask what I'd been all day without. Kyra couldn't even ask where. Okay, yeah. Kyra couldn't even ask where I'd been all day without me rolling my eyes like she was being a nag. I was making sure we didn't starve, obviously, right? Couldn't she trust me? Oh. He sighed, his head hung low. She went to school part-time while raising you. Really knuckling down, but that didn't matter to me back then. She could have spent her days lying in bed, not dying, and I would have felt the same. I didn't care. I was going to get it all done on my own either way. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's so stupid. I admired her more than anyone when there was nothing at stake. Yet as soon as responsibilities were involved, I couldn't let myself rely on her. Oh my gosh. I understand the divorce now. I thought it was because he was like silly goofy. I now see there's definitely a reason. This is changing my perspective on him, honestly. Because I thought he was a silly goofy dude, and here he is now telling me he's not a not a silly goofy dude. He's kind of serious. He combed a hand through his hair. Oh, like me? I'm doing that now, reaching for an understanding of his own younger self. I'm not even sure why. Maybe I had something to prove. Maybe I'm the one who didn't trust her in the end. Poor Kyra. She had spent every day mentally weighing the pros and cons of putting up with my horrible ideas for the sake of peace or trying to explain to my blockheaded self what I was doing wrong. It must have been so stressful and frustrating. constantly having to let everything go because I was stubborn and absolutely would make a fight out of it. He snorted bitterly. How do you snort bitterly? Like, is that like a good snort? A bitter snort? Maybe. That was a terrible snort for me. And now my nose feels weird. I was definitely stuck in my head in a lot of those days. Our relationship at that point was made of arguments and cool tolerance, but I still genuinely didn't see the divorce coming. We'd made it through the first few years, and after that, I never really considered it ending. It was just how life was. In retrospect, it's clear Kyra kept thinking of it more every year, especially because she managed to finish her journalism degree, and with us being more stable, financially that is, ooh, we love to see it. Girl, I'm so glad you got on your own. Fuck Mr. Holden. Maybe I don't like Mr. Holden. Maybe my character was right. Me and Mr. Holden have a estranged relationship. She thought of everything. She even timed it right with your school ended for the year, so the process would hopefully be all settled before you had to worry about class again. I mean, I'm glad he didn't drag it out. We were already talking about it before the accident ever happened. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. I mean, it's not sad. Like, it is sad, but it's good that this had nothing to do with Cove. I know I took it really hard, being a sad sack all around the neighborhood, but even that is unfair to me. When it shook out, I'm the one who got everything. Kyra didn't want to leave you, Cove. She never would have. I'm certain she felt like she had no choice but to end the relationship. The business was doing really well by then, so I had an easier time making a living. She was between jobs, and when she did get a new job, it meant that she'd be traveling all the time. That's why she willingly accepted me having full custody. See, this makes sense. This is making sense now. She didn't get to be there with her child for so many moments, and you had to spend half of your life growing up without your mother, and it's my fault. Mr. Holden closed his eyes briefly as he took a breath. So that's it. The story of Cliff and Kyra's marriage. Not exactly a fairy tale, but I want to be clear. You saw his grip on Cove's arms tighten, bro. Don't break his arm again. Loosen that grip, brother. No matter what happened with me and her, I'd never, ever want to miss out being your dad. I don't know why I read that like that. Cove's throat bowed as he swallowed. His eyes glistened, glossy with tears that had yet to fall. He blinked quickly, trying to hold them back. Thank you for telling me. His voice was hoarse, little more than a whisper. Mr. Holden brought a hand up to his face and lightly nudged Cove's chin. You're welcome. You're a grown-up now, right? You deserve the truth. That's the least I can do for you. Cove managed a fragile smile. Thank you for taking care of me, for all of it. Mr. Holden brushed the compliment off with a wave of his hand.
No worries.
It was nothing. Look at where we ended up. I've got this whole entire store, a house, friends here, a very thoughtful son. It's all good for me. What about me? Don't forget me, Mr. Holden. I'm glad. His voice was still quiet, and he ducked his head shyly after saying the words. Mr. Holden patted him on the back. You could see the tears in Cove's eyes still shining, threatening to spill over. Mr. Holden put an arm around his shoulder, gently steering him towards the door. Oh. He's kicking us out. He was like, don't be crying in my store. It's bad for business. You should go have fun. Make some nice memories. Cove's gaze flicked over to you. The watery smile on his face solidified. Alright. Good. Now out you go. Mr. Holden nudged the two of you out of the shop. You both walked silently as you made your return to the docks. Cove's face was pensive, clearly still digesting everything his dad said. He finally sighed, catching your attention. He hesitantly reached for the bag he had brought and raised it up. Princess, I want to call my mom. Oh, okay. I'm not going to leave her out of things, and I want to know what she thinks and what happened and all that. Is this the time to do it, though? He fiddled with the straps of his bag, and it remained closed shut. It's not like I don't trust Dad. It's just Mom's thoughts are important, too. And you were completely right about that. Your mother's thoughts are important. But is that the time for this? I get it, Cove. There's two sides to every story, after all. He seemed relieved that you understood. He knew he didn't want to be a bother with another delay. Thanks. Then I guess there's no time at the present. Time to ask. Oh, I'm going to be... Put on speaker. Put on speakerphone if you're going to call her right now. I want to know. I want to know what she's saying. With that mini pep talk, he finally opened his bag and found his phone. Cove unlocked it quickly and tapped over to his favorite contacts. He called up his mom and put the phone on speaker as it dialed. Ugh, beautiful, thank you. Kyra must have had her phone close because she answered almost immediately. Oh, now I gotta do a Kyra voice. Look at her! I'm not a fan of that shirt, but look at her! She's so cute. Cove, this is a pleasant surprise. I thought you'd get back to me later. Hey, Mom. He paused for a second and looked at you. You're on speakerphone with Princess, too. Hey, Kyra, hello. Hi, I'm here. You got silent. Hello. Oh, hello. I'm popular today. Well, what's going on? Don't keep me in suspense. Are you a pro jet skier already? Cove chuckled and scratched the back of his head. Yeah, we definitely should have called her after our jet ski thing, so we could tell her whether or not you were a pro jet skier yet. We haven't started yet. Actually, there's something I kind of want to ask you about. Really? I'm intrigued. Her voice was bright and excited. Cove moved the phone closer to his face so he could speak softly, aware that the tone of this conversation was about to change. I was talking to Dad earlier. It was about your relationship and why you both divorced. The one syllable had lost all her energy earlier. Cove tightened his grip on his phone. Don't break your phone. It does make sense that the past would come up today. Yeah, but he tried to brighten up the mood again. You weren't used to him being the perky one of the two. You could only imagine it felt like a strange role reversal for him. Dad said you were really amazing. He admired you a lot. What a flatterer. She sighed wistfully, and you could hear some interference. Maybe she had shaken her head. You couldn't tell for sure. Oh, Cliff. He bungled himself through a regular... Oh, sorry. This is not words. This is her talking. He bungled himself through regular, everyday adulting and social situations in astoundingly charming ways. Yet, somehow, at the exact same time, he was an ambitious, slightly shady, under-the-table type of man when it came to making his living in the world. Hold on now. Are you saying your dad's a criminal? Your dad's committing crimes? Who is Clifford Holden? That's what I want to know. Because he's sounding very suspicious and shady. And I need to know. I need to know if I'm going to join this family. I mean, it's not going to make a difference, but I just want to be nosy. So essentially, your father was an absolute heartthrob for someone such as myself. Ooh, this is cute. Do you think they'll get back together? Maybe. I can't tell. No, neither of them are dating, so it could happen. Cove and Kyra laughed delicately. The tension was broken to something lighter, a more familiar between the two. It's cool you both have nice things to say about each other. I agree, baby. She took a moment before continuing carefully. Do you have questions about what happened? I'm not sure. Cove squinted at the phone in his hands as he tried to think, his free hand brushing through his hair. Yeah, you could ask her why they divorced, so we can match up stories. I just kind of wanted to know how you describe what it was like. Can I tell you what Dad said about it? I don't think Cliff would mind. Whatever he told you is probably what he said to me. Alright, go for it. After taking a breath, Cove recapped Cliff's experience, doing his best to follow his dad's story. He went into a surprising amount of detail, and not a single thing was missed. Oh, he's got that photographic memory, that's what it is. Kyra listened in absolute silence, letting her son speak without interruption. When Cove finished, she took another deep inhale of air. So, what do you think? I'm taking too much air myself. Kyra sighed softly. You heard a clacking noise, like she was drumming her nails on the back of her phone or on a countertop. That definitely sounds like Clifford. It's not exactly wrong, but he doesn't have a total picture. He puts the emphasis on the wrong places, I think. Does he? What do you mean? For starters, Cliff unsurprisingly downplayed himself more than he had to. He did? Cove's eyebrows raised, and his face continued to inch even closer to the screen. Well, since your dad was so praising of me, it's only fair to return the favor. When Cliff said he was already taking care of himself when he met me, he means he was on his own. At 17, crazy. Cliff's own parents weren't, and still aren't, friendly people. They've always had a competitive relationship, though him getting into drinking and gambling as a teenager certainly didn't help. Oh my gosh, he was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. I cannot believe. He seems like such a nice guy. Is Mr. Holden my type? Maybe. I have many types, so does it really matter? Yeah. He knew they'd kick him out at 18, so he saved them the trouble and left home at 17. He always found a way to make it work, even without support. I met him a few months after that. We hit it off right away. He was exactly what I wanted back then. Oh, hold on. Thank you. Sorry. Why did I say thank you? I guess I'm thanking myself. I accidentally did the scroll wheel. I slipped by it. We dated, and then about half a year later, bam! We were on the way, Cove. She laughed fondly as Cove clung to every word. I was really optimistic about it all. I couldn't wait to be a mother, and I was more than happy that Cliff was the father who'd be along for the ride. We got married quickly, and before you were born. Cliff's recollection of wedded dynamic is pretty spot on. He was extremely stubborn, just, well, immature. Highly, highly immature. I mean, I bet. The way he was acting when we first met. That's why. That explains why he tried to pay me to be friends with his son. That's crazy. It's all making sense. All the pieces are coming together. Her voice raised slightly, and you got the feeling she was thinking back to her memories living with him. She left the specifics unspoken. But it's not like I was grown up either. How old were you? Were you both 17? Did she say that? Or did I miss that? Maybe. Everyone except maybe Cliff could see our relationship was no good. Or at least not good enough yet to commit to. I knew, but I didn't want to give it up. I wanted to keep the family together. I thought that if we divorced, we were never together, and then we'd ruin your life, Cove. Obviously, that wasn't true. I just didn't have enough experience at the time to realize there wasn't only one option for us. Maybe things would have been easier on you if we had split when you were still a baby, but it took me years to start figuring it all out. And sometimes it does take a long time to figure this stuff out like that. At least you're not together now, I guess. But you guys are grown adults now. Things have changed. Cove nodded, even if his mom couldn't see it, thinking hard about something. He was likely remembering his own experiences back then. We were married, but never seriously loved each other. We hardly knew each other. But y'all knew each other enough to have sex? Okay. Interesting. I mean, you could have casual sex, but like, you were 17? Crazy. I don't mind that Cliff never viewed marrying me as some kind of dream come true. I honestly just appreciate that he tried giving me hastily made life plan a shot. Oh, my hastily made life plan. Got it. I was the one who proposed after all. Got down on one knee and everything. Oh, wow, really? Interesting. We love an ambitious woman. She huffed slightly, something between a chuckle and a sigh. It's very funny and a little sad that Cliff still doesn't know why things changed between us. It's obvious to me. I guess he doesn't know deep down. I guess he does know deep down. He just never consciously made the connection. I'm not even mad he didn't stay the same towards me. Love makes everything different. But you said, I know what I said. She interrupted Cove, but before he could even finish his blurted out interjection. I don't mean Cliff or deny. We were just two kids in a relationship that only ever worked when it was at its easiest. And then you were born, little Cove James Holden. No! Not him being a J name. Cove, you've ruined my life. I must reconsider our matchmaking. I loved you immediately, and so did your father. Cove was stunned. His eyes started watering as his mouth clamped shut. The inclination we had towards each other paled in the face of that. Our love to you was the real deal. Cliff was the proudest papa. Then, in true Cove fashion, tears began to fall. He stayed silent, but you were pretty sure Kyra knew the effect her words had on her son. No matter how much time passed, Cliff never got over how amazing it was that such a precious little boy was his. I should have taken pictures of how he'd puff up whenever someone referred to you as his son. This is so cute. She sounded much cheerier now. A slight smile crept into Cove's face despite his tears. And then again, he still does that now. It wasn't hard to imagine Mr. Holden lighting up around baby Cove the same way he did with 18-year-old Cove. I mean, I believe it because, again, this man paid me $40 to be his son's friend. So, there you go. That's not love, I don't know what is. I remember how, when a real argument started brewing, Cliff had a habit of walking away to cool off. He wasn't able to handle it. His son seems to have taken after him in that way. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Thank you for alerting me to that, Kyra. You heard her chuckle and Cove looked down, a blush clear on his cheeks. You could just feel her smirk through the phone. Actually, I already knew that. Why am I saying thanks for alerting me to that? We already knew that. Man's ran away. How many times? She breezed over the next section airily. For our whole relationship, as always, he always ended fights by skipping out on me for who knew how long. I don't think even Cliff knew when he'd come back. Sometimes it'd be like that. That stopped when you were born. Cliff stopped running. He was still gone a lot for work, and we still had fights, but he wouldn't leave. That's sweet. I know this is a personal moment, Cove, but your mom is hot. She's always been hot. Ever since I saw her, I was like, oh my god. Cove, your mom's a MILF. If we don't work out, hook me up. Instead, he'd go to your room, Cove. Same. If you were asleep, he'd just sulk on the ground by your crib until you woke up. Aww. Sometimes he'd pace the room while holding you or sit on the floor and rock you. He'd stay with you until one of us decided we were ready to talk again. We didn't have a lot of furniture back then. That's the part of the reason why Cliff was always hanging out on the floor. He really came to embrace it. Is that a trait that he has now? Does he stay on the floor? When our relationship got bad enough that we didn't want to share a bed anymore, he always made sure I got to have a mattress. He instead set up a spot in the corner of the nursery, just in case you needed anything through the night. Aww. Aww, it's so sweet. We love to see it. We love to see someone that's not a deadbeat father. I mean, I'm pretty sure I did call him a deadbeat father when we were younger. But that's because he was like he wasn't actively parenting. He was just like, oh yeah, it's Cove. I love you. You're my son. And I'm never gonna do anything that makes you have to do disciplinary actions. Like, I'm not saying hurt him, don't hit him, but sometimes a punishment is needed. Sometimes it is needed. And Cove definitely should have been grounded more than once. Yeah, he was so afraid to actually parent him. I understand why, but still, yeah, I get it. But it's just like, at the same time, he was young too. He gave you a more private space when you got bigger, but he still always made sure he could be there for you. There's still no denying whether Cliff understands or not. He made his choice without prioritizing me. But it wasn't that he suddenly hated me. To Cliff, I was only a wife on paper. In his mind, I was a cool girl he had dated and generally liked. Nothing close to being the light of his life. Aww. Girl, I hope you find someone that loves you. All his blood, sweat, and tears weren't for him or me, or even the family unit. They were all completely and totally for his baby. Meanwhile, I was doing the same, though in the opposite way. I did take us being married seriously. I was trying to force us together as a couple so we could be a complete family for our child. You felt like a fly on the wall in a very personal conversation. Cove didn't seem to notice when you looked over at him, his face a complicated patchwork of emotions. Eventually, I woke up and saw what he was doing. I realized I wasn't going to work. Not like that. When I was ready for it, I talked to Cliff about separating and starting up the divorce process. He was shocked by it, and unfortunately, it wasn't too long after when you had your accident, Cove. Princess, I don't know how much Cove really told you about it, but when he broke his arm, it terrified all of us. Why? Why? I would like to know why. Tell me more. Cove could have died. Oh. I mean, yeah, I guess. I guess he could have. Instead of breaking his arm, he could have broke his skull open. Even back then, we knew he'd likely have a permanent scar he'd have to live with forever. Our parenting hurt our child, and he was the one who'd have to carry the repercussions. You're a bit taken back to be referred to directly. Honestly, I am a little bit taken aback. You still felt a little out of place, and she seemed completely focused on her son. Cove grimaced, and the hand holding his phone shook. Mom. Kyra continued as if she'd never paused. It was heartbreaking, and then on top of it all, we had to put you through your parents breaking up. Taking that back wasn't an option despite the timing. It felt like everything we had worked so hard for to make you happy was for nothing. I chose to believe we'd fix our lives from there, but to Cliff it seemed hopeless. He found his son. It was easier for me in some ways. I had my family to lean on. That made it feel less daunting, less impossible. Cliff had only ever really known being on his own, but the happenstance of his birth, and then by choice. When we broke up, he knew he was going to have to put back the pieces of what was left alone. I wanted to be there for him, even after everything, but I was the one divorcing him. It was impossible. I never managed to be someone he truly relied on, and I had to remember that wasn't changing. As bleak as it felt at the time, Cliff still tried not to let any of that show to you, Cove. He did what he could to keep your spirits high about the move, and your new house, the scar, everything. So, that's why. Cove showed off he had misunderstood the impact his injury had on his parents. You were reminded of something that made more sense now. Mr. Holden had been so helpful with Cove's old Halloween costume because he didn't want Cove to be saddened by the scar. It was clear Cove was coming to the same realizations. Now, with that all said, if Cliff was completely perfect and a wonderful guy, I wouldn't have left him. If it was even pretty good, I would have stayed. It was hard not to have custody. Sometimes I felt like I was a fun aunt rather than the mom I always wanted to be. She does give fun aunt energy, and Cliff definitely gave fun uncle energy. But that's wild to have for your own child. I might have overcompensated a little at times because of that. She forced a laugh, but it had an uncomfortable edge to it. You could tell she was trying to blow off a very real anxiety of hers. Cove looked ready to say something, but his mom kept talking, kept moving forward. Still, it's not Cliff's fault alone that our relationship didn't work. We were always better as co-parents than spouses. But I knew when separating that it wasn't going to be even. In Cove, the only reason I could stand not being there for you all the time is because I knew that if the situation was reversed and I could have provided a more stable environment, Cliff would have done the same. Your dad would give up his house, his shop, even his right arm if it would guarantee that you were safe and happy. It's so painful. So as painful as it was, I was sure you'd be okay because you were still with someone who loved you more than anything else in the world. Cove lowered his head, tears falling to the ground. He tried to speak. It took him a few tries. Aww, babe. Thank you for telling me. His voice cracked, and Kyra made an alarmed sound on the other end of the line. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean to make you cry. It's okay. He was still crying, everyone could tell, being physically present or not. I love you, Mom. You've always been my mom, not some aunt. My mom. I love you too. Her tone was thick with emotion. She was at the edge of a voice break herself. I'm so lucky to be your mom. She started to sniffle openly. Don't feel bad for me with how it worked out. I promise that none of it was your fault, and it's not as though I'm completely miserable over here. Can I read? Brain, mouth, work together, please. I have an incredible life with a beautiful baby boy of my own who calls whenever he can. At that, Cove's tears only came down heavier. No, it's so precious. Thank you. Kyra sighed affectionately, and you could hear the warmth in her voice. I think that's good for now. Maybe we should end the call. Take a moment. Is that really alright? He tightened his grip on his phone. You could see how emotionally exhausted he looked. Are you gonna have enough energy to go on this jet ski? Because we can always come back and do it another day. We'll be in touch soon. For now, you'll only be able to keep thanking me or apologizing. Cove cried out defensively over the accusation, making his mom snicker. Bye, and goodbye to you, princess. I'm glad you're there for my baby. See you. Bye, Mom. I love you. Love you too. Cove hung up. He let his hand drop to his side, his phone brushing the fabric of his wetsuit. His other hand went up to his face. He tried to wipe the tears from his eyes. His face was red, and he struggled to put his phone back in his bag one-handed. You could tell he was getting worked up. He finally just used both his hands and sealed his phone back in its normal place. Cove sniffed and then reached out for you. His hand trembled in your grasp as you squeezed back. He needed to feel your support. You want me to go see your dad again? He didn't have to tell you what was on his mind for this. Cove nodded, his head weakly. You rushed back to the way you came, feet pounding across the boards of the dock to return to the scuba shop for the third time. It was a little difficult to keep up with him. His stride was already longer than yours, but with him almost running, you had to pick up the pace. You reached his dad's door, and Cove still wasn't slowing down. He pushed his way through the door at full speed. His hand released yours as he charged in. Hold on, we were holding hands this whole time? This man had me running? Had me sprinting? Mr. Holden had been walking around the middle of the store, checking over things. Immediately, he turned at the sound. What? Where's the fire? He froze when he got a look at Cove's face. He weirdly opened his mouth, probably to ask what's wrong, but then Cove launched himself at his father. Cove threw his arms around Mr. Holden's neck. He buried his face in his dad's shoulder and started to sob with deep, hitching breaths. Cliff clearly had no idea what was going on, and his hands hovered awkwardly in the air. He looked at you for a brief second, hoping for understanding before turning all his attention on Cove. Aw, what a cute scene. What a nice scene this is. He wrapped both arms around Cove's back. Cove looked secure in his father's embrace, protected and safe. It's okay. It'll be okay. Whatever it is, it's gonna be okay. Is he blinking? He is blinking. That scared me. Cove kept crying. He inhaled deeply, his voice choking up when he tried to speak. You always tried to be there for me when I was growing up, and I was mean to you. I'm sorry. What is this face? The what with this face? I love it. Mr. Holden was completely taken aback. He hadn't expected this to be the issue. You don't have to apologize for that, bud. Kids are allowed to be mad at their parents. It's my job to take care of you. I really didn't do anything special. I mean, at least you cared. There's a lot of parents out there who do not give a single shit about their kids. You would know. You would know. I'm sorry that you grew up that way. Cove shook his head as empathetically as he could while still tucked in against his dad. You always supported me no matter what. You always loved me. I wish I had realized how much you did sooner. Cove squeezed him tighter. Thank you. I love you, Dad. At his son's heartfelt confession, hold on, sorry, my eye itches. At his son's heartfelt confession, the father became choked up as well. He compressed Cove into a crushing hug. I do love you. I always will. You can count on that. I want to be there for you too. This touching moment. Father and son. They clung into one another, absorbed in the moment. Then after a little while longer, they slowly began to loosen their hold. At what time did we plan on deciding to do this jet skiing? Is there a time frame? Have we rented the jet skis already? What is happening here? Like, I know what's happening, but like, do we jet ski? Cove sniffled and moved so he could use his palm to wipe away his tears. His dad's shirt was visibly damp where his face had been. Cliff patted the top of Cove's shoulders. He looked at his son with pride. You've grown up so much. Cove started to laugh through his tears, a wavering smile on his lips. You doubted that Cove would ever thought that crying on his dad's shoulder was a sign of maturity, but it was true. Cove had changed over the years. You were glad to see Cove grow. You felt a little awkward. You thought you understood Cove's dad a little better now, too. It made you wonder if there was more to understand about your moms. I understand Cove's dad a little bit better. Your perception of Cliff had always been colored by the limited sides he was willing to show his neighbors, and then through Cove's eyes. What you had learned today gave you more of a complete picture of him. I wouldn't say complete. There's still a lot that I need to learn about this man. It felt like you knew him better now, on his own merits. Cove wiped at his eyes again, because I need to know about his little hoodlum past. I need to know about that. You're a good dad. You're a good son. Mr. Holden was plainly touched by the words and beamed at his beloved child. Cove looked away and shyly traced his scar. Cliff chuckled and released Cove to rub the back of his neck. Earlier panic had bled off and left the confusion. I'm glad we had this talk, but what was it that made you cry in the first place? You weren't too bad off when you left before. Oh. Cove ducked his head further down, getting a very good look at the scuff marks on the floor. I called Mom. I wanted to talk to her about all of this. He kicked one of his feet shyly, swinging it back and forth against the ground. Things felt really hard when I was younger, but it wasn't just me going through stuff, Dad. You never give yourself credit. Cliff smiled gently and gripped Cove's shoulder with reassurance. Kyra is an amazing person to come to my defense. For me, the only hard part was seeing you and her unhappy. Everything else? That was nothing. He wrapped an arm around Cove's neck for another side hug. Cove leaned into the embrace and glanced up at his dad. Your old man is tougher than he looks. Check out how powerful these arms are. And this is 10 years on. I was in my prime those days. Cove laughed. It was a light sound full of fondness. Okay. He quieted down a little, finding a quick moment of seriousness. Thanks again, Dad. I know you don't want me to feel bad. I'm happy because of everything you and Mom did. I have a really nice life. Mr. Holden's countenance, maybe, became much more serious. He didn't take what was said lightly. Cove, you are very welcome. It's so good to hear. Then he let Cove go away. I said go away. I guess I'm tired. I'm tired. Go again. This time they both took a step back to their normal proximity. One of these days, I'm gonna learn how to read so well, it's gonna be over for everyone, even myself. Mr. Holden cleared his throat. He looked at you right in the eyes. Oh? I also appreciate that you were here for support, Princess. I mean, I'm always here. I've never not been here. What a loyal partner. Cove looked back down, embarrassed. I'm glad I could be here. I want to be there for you too, Mr. Holden. Thanks for finally noticing my presence. Finally, resolution. You're both so sweet. You couldn't find a way to react. I'm feeling these three. These are not for me right now. Should we be weird? Let's be weird. Cove's dad broke into nervous laughter. He couldn't keep it. Well, thanks, but you don't need to worry about me. I do worry about you, and I will worry about you. What did Kyra say? You know what? Don't answer that. I'm not sure I want to hear. That's thoughtful of you. Cliff smiled warmly. He nudged Cove gently as to say, look how lucky you are. Oh, cute. Hey, maybe I ought to give you another $20 for all this. Bet? You put up with a lot over the years. I feel like I should get $20. I should get $40 a year. So I will be taking it, plus interest, please. Cove's cheeks puffed up into a pout. He said, and no, I could use some money. Please don't knock this again. I could use some money. You were mostly joking. That being said, you wouldn't mind a $20 bill. Not you too. Okay. I'll leave making jokes about that to Cove. Cove smiled, satisfied at that. Alright. Cove exhaled slowly, his posture relaxing. We better get going. You still have work done, and I think Princess has been patient enough. Cliff grinned and waved the two of you off. Sure thing, I'm happy you both stopped in, but you gotta go have some fun. Be careful out there. Not that, the little shy, I don't need to go jet skiing anymore. Princess didn't plan on doing it anyway. What? You dragged me out of, where were we before we decided to go jet skiing? You dragged me out of wherever the fuck we were to put on some swimming clothes, to go jet skiing, and now you don't even want to go jet skiing? No, your ass is going jet skiing. You're going jet skiing. You're not gonna stand me up on plans. You were doing these plans. No way. You're a mature young man. If you want to jet ski, then you should go out and jet ski. I'll still be here if you need anything, right? Yeah. Okay. Bye. Take care of yourself. Let's get a move on already. Woo! Almost forgot why we came out here in the first place. Woo! Cove waved to his dad as he started walking out. He followed. When you turned back to Mr. Holden before you went out the door, he was waving. Bye, kids. You'll do great. Once again, as had become today's habit, you and Cove walked down the dock side by side. But this time, Cove had a bounce in his step. His smile was soft but radiant. Thanks for staying, and sorry for how long it took. You're welcome. You did the same for me. These things happen. I was curious anyway. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was definitely curious. It's fine. I had a feeling it'd be a bigger deal than it started as. Promise we won't have to do any more interruptions. I was curious anyway. Really? You nodded seriously. It had been a bit of a mystery for years at this point. Today was a day of revelations, and you didn't mind. Cove grinned at you. Look, he's back with his bunny teeth. So cute. Cove grinned at you, all grateful positivity and sunshine. The water lapped at the dock beneath your feet. Cove looked down when a particularly strong wave crashed against it. It's weird to think about my parents' relationship. There's all this stuff that I don't know because I wasn't there, or because I was just a kid, or because I didn't even exist yet. It feels really complicated. It is. Our parents' relationships are very complicated. You learn some things about them when you grow up, and it's like, that's wild, that's crazy, and I see why you did what you did. Doesn't excuse it, but I see why you did it. Relationships are complicated. I know what you mean. I feel that way about mine. Really? You didn't comment. Relationships are complicated. You agree with him. Connections to other people were as varied as there were waves in the ocean. Code nodded without elaboration. He looked out to the ocean, wistful for a moment before he shook it off. I'm happy that they were married, even if they didn't stay together in the end. I mean, they could have just lived together. They didn't have to be married. Because if they weren't married, they wouldn't have gotten a divorce. And that's money. That's money. You know how much getting divorced costs? Hella. I'm glad you're feeling better. You asked about what he thought about marriage for himself now. You know what? Yeah, let's do it. How do you feel about marriage? Speaking of marriage... Cove's eyes widened curiously as he turned to face you. Are you scared of it because of everything that happened with your parents? Cove shook his head shyly. He didn't hesitate for a second. No, surprisingly, I don't have issues about the idea of getting married someday. Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know, because I have issues. You looked at him, not bothering to hide your intrigue. He chuckled self-consciously at the reaction he got. Don't get me wrong. Trying to actually propose would be terrifying. I'm sure planning a whole wedding would be so hard, especially for me, but... Yeah, did they even have a wedding? Did your parents have a wedding, or did they go down to, like, the court? Because having a wedding and then getting a divorce, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But just the thought of having someone I love that I was married to, that I'd spend the rest of my life with, that doesn't scare me. It makes me happy to think about. Oh? Both of you snuck smiles at each other. Why are we sneaking smiles? There's no purpose to this. What about you? Would you ever want to be officially married someday? Yes, it's something I really want someday. I don't see myself ever getting married. I'm not sure. I'd only get married if I found someone really special. I never thought about it. You know what? Yeah. Sure, I want to get married someday. It was a bit of a dream for you. Oh, it's blushing. He's so cute. He quickly decided to change the subject after that admission. Why? Why? We can keep talking about it. Alright, no more distractions, let's go. It's jet ski. It's time to jet ski. Yeah, let's do it. The two of you began to more quickly make your way across the boards. Despite your excitement, you were both careful. Neither of you wanted an accident, especially after what happened with Cove's first jet skiing trip. You finally got to the rental place. You were surprised at how easy the process was. It took no time at all for Cove to climb on his jet ski with shaky legs. You were to your own. I'm gonna watch. I don't want a jet ski. No, thank you. You can have all that fun to yourself. You found a comfortable place in the dock where you could watch Cove. You hadn't changed your mind on jet skiing, and were more than happy to leave it to Cove. You looked across the Cove. He sat motionlessly astride his jet ski, preparing himself to start it up. Even from your distance, you could tell his hands were clamped onto the handles too tightly. He was stiff and nervous. Go, Cove, you can do it. Come on, you're gonna chicken out. Nah, I'm not gonna say that. It'll be alright, Cove. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. He took a deep breath. You could see the rise and fall of his chest. Thanks. Not the thanks. Thanks, princess. You're welcome, boo. He inhaled slowly and started up the jet ski. It roared forward, and you were surprised you could hear him squeak over the sound of the engine. He squeaked. Oh, this poor man. He stopped after a few seconds and breathed again. After he calmed down, he started up once more. I'm having a deja vu moment right now. This moment definitely happened. Like this exact moment right here, the sentence, his face there, this background. This moment 100% happened before. Scary. Cove sputtered and stalled with it for a while, going a little further each time. He grew more comfortable with the feel. He continued to struggle with the jet ski, but he refused to let that stop him. He kept going until he wrangled the machine into submission. Cove eventually reached the point where he only stopped the jet ski when he had something to say. He kept shouting things at you. Why? Did they not give him like instructions on how to use the jet ski? This is amazing! Did you see that, princess? This is so great! You watched from the dock as he gained more confidence. He was really enjoying himself out there. He zoomed forward and you could hear his bright laugh ring across the waves. You were relieved he'd taken it so well. You watched Cove casually from the dock. You took pictures with your phone. I'm gonna take pictures of my phone. I gotta document this moment. You pulled out your phone and stopped pics whenever you could get a good shot. You made sure to hold your phone firmly so it wouldn't slip into the ocean. Am I in the ocean? Why am I not zoomed in? Get out of the ocean with your phone. Cove continued to jet ski with glee. You laughed along with him. You both had a good time. Eventually the sun set and you had to pack up. Cove was thankfully still in one piece. No cast necessary. After everything was returned, Cove dug his phone out of his bag and texted his parents to let them know all about his triumph. You sent Cove the pictures you'd taken of him and sent the best ones to his mom and dad. And he sent the best ones to his mom and dad. While you waited on their responses, you decided on taking a selfie with you too. Oh, okay. You got to a silly pose, you shot off your best angles, you covered your face in embarrassment, you smiled. You asked Cove to not take a picture of you. Gotta show off my best angles. You posed, and Cove tried to follow your lead. He took a few pictures, and you pointed out the best one. You liked how it turned out, and he sent it to you. It would be a nice memory. Aww, and now it's my phone background. His phone vibrated only a moment after texting it out. Mr. Holden and Kyra had likely been waiting the entire day to find out how this outing would go. With the news of his success, both of Cove's parents sent back how proud they were of Cove for how far he'd come. Watching him grinning in the setting sun after facing so many fears that day, you felt the same. Aw, that was cute. Okay, well, I need to get off. I gotta get off early. That's okay. We'll play this game, obviously, next week. But, let me save it. Save. Yes, save. Okay, I'm changing the scenes over. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Let me do that, yes. Okay, so, we are ending stream right now. I want to thank you all for showing up. Thank you for chatting, thank you for lurking? Thank you for lurking, oh my gosh. Thank you for showing up any way you can, I appreciate it. Tomorrow we will be back at 11 with Animal Crossing, obviously, and that's the only game we're going to stream that day because I have many things to do. This is a very busy week for me. So I'm not going to be here all the time. But I will be back tomorrow at 11, like I said. Oh, you know who's on right now? Ray, Sun's Deity. Let's go raid them. We're gonna raid Sun's Deity. They're doing art. Let me get the raid together. Yeah, start the raid. Okay. Thank you guys so much again for being here. I really appreciate it. The VOD for this morning is gonna go up, and the VOD for this is gonna go up. When? We don't know, but we'll get there. Anyway, once again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Love, 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 love. I hope you have a nice rest of your day, week, month, year, and life. And I hope to see you in the next stream. Bye.